Boy Green has returned to the lovely confines of Oswego, New York. My office is apparently under construction, so we called an audible. Now we're over here. But that's neither here nor there. We've got one more visit with our resident NFL draft analyst to put a final bow on the New York Jets 2026 New York Jets draft class. He is going to grade every single pick for the Jets, and that starts right now.
Oh my gosh, it's morphin' time! To me, talking New York Jets is my superpower. Boy Green Daily starts now. Wow! Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily.
It's actually just football, man.
Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily. This is a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your podcast. I hope my voice is coming back. It still feels a little sore from being at the draft. A lot of Jet chants on ESPN and NFL Network, which is a blessing. And actually, when you guys send in memberships and super chats today, we actually have some of the footage from the draft that we will play as new videos. So you guys can test that out for a spin a little bit later. But without further ado, one final time, let's bring him in at Iron City Film, your mama's favorite draft analyst. It is Drew Beatty, who is going to grade every single pick for the New York Jets. And I can't wait for it. Let's bring him in. Good morning, Drew.
What's up, Paul? One last time. How we doing?
You know, I told you this before, I think it was last week, that, like, man, you know, once you sort of get to the end of the rainbow here, it's both good and bad. I'm going to now miss you, hopefully, you know, for a lot of months. You know, with all due respect.
For your sake and everybody watching here, you guys won't see me for a while after this. But
that's exactly it. It's exciting. 3 first-round picks next year, and I heard from Rich Eisen that if the Jets use all 3 of their first-round picks in 2027, they will be the first team in NFL history to have 3 first-round picks in a draft and 3 first-round picks in another draft in back-to-back years. That's never happened before. So the Jets have a chance to make some history. So we will hopefully, like I said, unpack that in due time. Well, I love you, Drew, but in due time, hopefully the Jets are winning games next season. The draft was exciting. It was crazy. We'll tell some more stories later, Drew, but I know we have a pocket of time here, so let's get to it. And, oh, my goodness, you are the first person I thought of when the Jets made this selection, number 2 overall. We're just going to start it off right on the top rope, Drew Beatty. I feel like this is the best thing to possibly do. And a quick shout-out here to this guy. Okay, there he is, taking a selfie. And there's Boy Green right above him at the draft. David Bailey with his official selfie. And we turn to our group every time, Drew, before we get into the picks here. Every time we were right by the draft stage, 15 feet from the draft stage, and there was 11 of us Jet fans in there. It looks like a lot more. And we huddled up, and before every pick, we're like, who do we want? And we're like, Arvell Reese, obviously. Arvell Reese, yeah. Okay, let's get a Reese chant ready to go. Reese. Okay, that'll be great. And then David Bailey gets selected. Literally at every pick as we go through this, we had a chant ready for a player that we did not draft. So those chants died. Makai Lemon. We thought we traded back in for Denzel Boston initially. So, I mean, there was just a lot of craziness of what happened. So without further ado, Drew, let's go piece by piece through this puzzle with the number 2 overall pick in the 2026 NFL draft. The New York Jets took one of your favorite players in this class, Texas Tech pass rusher David Bailey. So, Drew, you know, what you do is give us brutal honesty, whether we like it or not. Good, bad, or indifferent. So We'll go piece by piece through this. David Bailey's the selection. What did you think of this? What's your grade for this selection?
You know, I'm never going to come on here and lie to you guys. I don't want to be the Debbie Downer right after the draft. Everybody's excited still. We're coming down from the high of the draft. Everybody wants to, you know, experience and enjoy the highs from the picks. But I have made my feelings very clear about David Bailey on this show multiple times as I've been on here the past couple months. All Also, I would never get on here and tell you guys I told you so. I would never do that. But I do somewhat remember what the chat was saying to me on Monday of last week. You guys were worked up on Monday about a couple of these picks, and all I'm saying is, a couple of them came to fruition. But Bailey here, I got to give it a C-. I don't love Bailey. I've made it pretty clear before. I think Arvell Reese should have been the pick. I think that he just has too much stiffness in his lower body for me to get really excited about a pure speed rusher. I don't think he has the power profile to be a reliable power rusher at the next level. I don't think he is an NFL ready run defender quite yet. So all of those things combined, I worry that he may be more of a limited kind of DPR type role player at first in his NFL career, but that doesn't mean there's not stuff to get excited about, right? I mean, first of all, positionally, that's the Jets' biggest need, that they just, added up an exciting player in David Bailey. He's really long, almost 34-inch arms. He's really, really explosive and fast in a straight line. So, I mean, the athleticism and length combination is always going to be enticing to some degree at the NFL. So that doesn't mean there's nothing to be excited about with David Bailey. He was still in my top 50, just not a guy that I, was really top 5, top 10 high on like most people were. So I don't mean to come out here and say that, this guy is going to be a terrible NFL player. He's never going to play a snap. He doesn't have anything to like about him. There are good things about David Bailey's profile. I just don't know that I see this elite pass rusher that everybody seems to.
Drew, when we get later in the class, as we go through this draft, and you're like, hey, man, I had him in my top 50, I'm going to yeah. You saying, hey, man, the player you just took at number 2 overall, he made my top 50. Okay, he was in there. That I'm going to be honest, Drew. That's not the most inspiring thing I've ever heard from you. That I hope he is. I hope any team in history that takes him at number 2 overall is inside your top 50 at least for good Lord. So let me just ask you this: what is the floor for David Bailey? He's going to be at least this, because something I've heard from other people, so feel free to destroy what I've heard from other people if you don't think it's true, is people said that I've just heard in draft analysis as I was driving back from the draft said, well, the floor in their anticipation and projection is David Bailey is just going to be a really good football player for a long time. But is he going to be this all-pro, Pro Bowler, all this stuff? We're not so sure. But he's just going to have this floor as a pass rusher and do that forever. Do you agree with that floor? And if not, what is the floor and what is the ceiling for David Bailey?
I mean, yeah, I think the floor is just what I think he kind of is now, right? Where it's just this pure DPR, pure speed guy. Not
hey, real quick, Drew. I know what DPR means, but to the fans, can you explain what that is?
That stands for designated pass rusher. It's a guy that you just can't trust on early downs as a run defender, and you need to only sub him in on pure pass downs. Like third and distance, that kind of stuff. So I think that's really where worst case scenario is for Bailey. Is just he's a guy that really only comes in on designated pass downs, and he's somebody that is just kind of a pure speed profile guy, pure rotational guy. I think best case scenario, I want to say you add a little bit of mass on his frame and get him a little bit stronger, and he starts to be able to really put together a speed to power profile. But it's also, his frame, he's a weird built guy. If you look at David Bailey, he's all torso, if that makes any sense. He's a really broad shouldered guy. His legs are kind of stubby almost. And he's already put on a lot of weight on that frame compared to his Stanford days. So a part of me also wonders if his frame is kind of maxed out, so I don't know how much more muscle you can really put on effectively without making him kind of clunky, in terms of fluidity. So I think if you can develop his power profile, that's really where you can open up David Bailey's ceiling as a rusher. But I think until he gets that and gets away from just his straight line explosiveness being his only move, and he's got an inside spin and a couple of things too, but he's really his only primary move is just that first step. So until he kind of diversifies that, I'm concerned.
Fair enough. Now, I want to say this. I have no idea how – I knew how Drew was going to feel about this one, but I don't know how he's going to feel about any of the other ones. And, folks, I want you to know this in the audience. You may not agree with everything that Drew Beatty says here, but he's going to always shoot you straight. So I want to just highlight this comment real quick. Taylor Sterling, didn't Drew take Bailey in his last mock draft? I felt like Drew explained this, but I will do this again. That was a predictive mock draft. Drew Beatty is not the GM. I think we did do a mock earlier in the offseason where you were the GM, and you get to make the picks as if you were the guy. But no, in his latest mock draft, which is what he cough flexed with at the beginning, that he predicted several of these picks that happened here for the Jets. So it doesn't matter if he doesn't like him, if he thinks it's going to happen, and that's it. Did I explain that as it were, Drew?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, all right, great. I just want to make sure we got that in. All right, well, the Jets had a couple of these first-round picks, so let's go to the next one. Oh, my goodness. Oregon tight end Kenyon Sadiq is the 16th overall pick, and I will tell you, again, we're feet from the draft stage. As we're sort of lining it up and going, ooh, who could it be? To me, I thought it was down to two players. I thought it was Kenyon Sadiq or Mekhi Lemon. But we thought it was going to be Lemon because if one of the receivers were on, that was sort of the conversation the entire time. If one of the receivers weren't, do you convince yourself of Kenyon Sadiq versus wide receiver 4 or something? But Mekhi Lemon was on the board. So, we thought it was going to be Lemon. Obviously, it wasn't. But, man, an exciting offensive weapon has been added here to the Jets. How do you grade this, Drew?
I'll give this one a B-. And then for whatever it's worth, I know I came in here being negative. Bailey's my lowest graded pick of this whole class. So
I got that out of the way.
We're uphill from here, right? We've already got through the most negative part. But for me, Sadiq, it's this one. I like the player. I think a lot of how I feel about this pick depends on what their plan is for how to use Sadiq. Because to me, this is very reminiscent of like what the Raiders did a couple of years ago, where you take Michael Mayer, the year or two before, and then you add in, Brock Bowers. Here they add in Kenyon Sadiq. Not saying Kenyon Sadiq is Brock Bowers, because I'm not. But I'm comparing it usage-wise, because I wonder if that's not their same plan, where you have like Mason Taylor as the Michael Mayer inline guy, going to be kind of your primary, Y tight end. And then Kenyon Sadiq, they're going to use almost more of their power slot kind of guy. But then again, also 12 personnel is really taking over the league again. And Kenyon Sadiq, the thing that has kept him, he was right outside of a first round grade for me. So he was still like top 20 player for me. I had him about in this range where they took him. I think he's kind of a tweener right now, just because I think he is a good blocker, especially for the size that he is. But I wonder if he's going to be able to survive as an inline blocker with the size he currently is. He's only, sub 250 pounds, regardless of how good of a blocker he is for sub 250. I just don't know if you can be a super effective full-time inline blocker in the NFL, only being 245 or whatever he measured in at. So I'd like to see him add a little bit of upper body mass, because he gets kind of thrown around at the point of attack some as a blocker. And again, obviously he's a big time receiving threat. When he gets rolling, that top speed, he's going to fly past safeties. Like, he is a high end athlete. But I see a little bit of stiffness in his hips too as a receiver. That's why, like, if you're drafting him to be purely your power slot kind of guy, I'm a little bit hesitant about this pick, just because I think you need more lower half fluidity to be that effective of a pure receiver. I don't think he really gets in and out of breaks as efficiently as he could. He's kind of, he's got some air brakes rather than some brake pads. He'll start to roll when he needs to slow down. And he can't just like do it on a dime, like a Brock Bowers, for example. So again, it really depends on usage. I'll have to wait and see how the Jets plan on deploying Kenyon Sadiq before I finalize an opinion on this one. But I like the player. There's a high ceiling there. If you can add a little bit of mass on him and use him preferably more as an inline guy than a pure power slot guy, I like the pick.
Yeah. A lot to unpack here with Kenyon Sadiq. I agree, because here's the fear if you're a Jets fan, and we talked about this over the last couple of days. If Kenyon Sadiq blocks out the sun, which is Mason Taylor, and he sort of wanes because of Sadiq, then man, that sort of sucks as a resource that you're blocking the 42nd overall pick from doing something. However, if you have the right offensive coordinator, you can maximize in 12 personnel both of these guys, and they can help each other. So I'll be sort of curious in that. Before I ask you the floor ceiling question, I think this is a question on some people's minds. I'll highlight this from the Beast. Shout out to Dane Brugler. When I look at the statistics for Kenyon Sadiq, they're not overwhelming. Why?
I think Oregon, it's just not a super conducive offense to feed an ultra productive tight end. a super RPO heavy offense. He was doing a lot of blocking. They kind of tried to force feed him his last season in 2025, but they didn't do it very effectively, weirdly enough. So, I mean, again, if you've listened to me for any amount of time, I don't really take in production all that much. So I think regardless of him being not the most productive player in the world, I don't think that's a knock on Sadiq to me.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it really is just a factor of the offense he was in.
Okay. Fair enough.
Also, he's splitting a lot of reps in Eugene with the guy who's probably going to be tight end one next year in Jamari Johnson. So that's also eating away at a lot of his production.
No, that's good context too. So for people that are confused by what I just said, so I guess let me clarify. Taking Kenyon Sadiq versus a wide receiver, we're going to get to what the Jets did later. But in the moment, we're just grading each of these picks individually. When Kenyon Sadiq was selected, there is a chance the Jets, since Dustin Keller, have not had one tight end have production. And now you're saying, oh, no, Paul, they're now going to have two. So I'm just saying that, like, there is a world where Sadiq, is drafted, and then Taylor sort of just doesn't get involved anymore because reps or whatever. I understand that Frank Reich has used two tight end sets in the past, and on paper it could work. I'm just saying there's a chance that if Mason Taylor gets shaded at all in terms of his targets, opportunities, things of that nature, that would be a sucky result because in a perfect world, they're both being used, and we're going to be celebrating this later this fall, which, again, is what I hope to happen. So let's end with one more on Sadiq, and then we'll move on. Floor ceiling for Kenyon Sadiq is what at the NFL level?
Yeah, I think the floor is what I want to talk about when he's like a tweener. Excuse me. As he gets stuck kind of in that stasis in between roles where he never puts on enough size to be a fully effective inline blocker. But he's also just a little bit too big to be like a pure receiving type guy and not quite fluid enough. So I worry that he may, like, worst case scenario, he gets stuck kind of in between those roles and ends up kind of positionless, almost somewhere stuck between an F and a Y tight end. But I think, best case scenario, I worry a lot less about the fluidity issue. If you can get this guy to 250, 255 pounds, because, again, I said he's 245. This guy is a rock solid 245. Kenyon Sadiq has got a bodybuilder upper half. But again, you just put on a little bit more mass. It doesn't even have, we always say, like, as drafting analysts, oh, put on 10 pounds of him. People think like putting on 10 pounds of lean muscle takes years and years. It's not something that's that simple. When I say somebody likes a blocker like this, I don't mean, if you can put on 4 pounds of muscle and just an extra 6 pounds of fat or whatever, just get more mass on you because mass moves mass, right? And mass prevents you from being moved as easily. So I think I need a little bit more upper body strength from Kenyon Sadiq and just a little bit more sand in his pants to feel super comfortable in him as like a full-time blocker. So if you can put on a little bit more weight, and again, I don't mean to paint him as some bad blocker because he's not. He's one of the better blockers of this class, especially for how small he was in college. But if you can get him to like mid 250s, where I really feel comfortable about him as a full-time inline guy, I worry a lot less about the lower half fluidity issues, and I think he's got a really high ceiling as a pure wide tight end.
Again, we got 200 people in the room. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. We are a mere, let me get an updated look at this number. 1 subscriber away from 8,600. So who wants to be that lucky one out there in the audience? Hit that, baby. We got a nice little surge while we're at the draft. We'll keep rolling here. Again, we've got draft analyst Drew Beatty. He's been with us this entire process. We're grading every single pick the New York Jets made throughout this entire draft class. So appreciate Drew for being with us. He'll be with us today. And then next week's Boy Green Daily Monday's episode will revert back to 7:30. And then Drew will go into hibernation and get ready for the 2027 NFL draft, as it were. The Jets made one more first-round pick, Drew Beatty. And to me, this was the most exciting pick that they made, to trade back in, to be in the room where it happened for the Hamilton people in the audience, but to be in there and a trade happens and we see the alert come across the screen and we start losing our crap. We traded back in. Something's happening. And it ended up being Indiana wide receiver Omar Cooper Jr., number 30 overall. Now, Drew, before you give your analysis, I don't know if you've seen this, but I'm going to show this. Oh, yeah, baby. Here it is. I wish it was like the SpongeBob thing when he lifted the thing and everyone goes, oh. So here it is. Okay. Oh, baby. This is the official draft card that Roger Goodell read out for Omar Cooper Jr. This is a one-of-one item. I will go full screen so you guys can see this. And here it is in its glory with the 30th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. The New York Jets select Omar Cooper Jr., wide receiver, Indiana, and that is Roger Goodell's Herbie Hancock, baby. And I am going to frame this, so enjoy this while this is not framed at this current moment, and I'll put an Omar Cooper Jr. picture with this, but this is insane. And here's the quick story real quick, and then we'll get back to it. So I did not know this. I've never been to a draft before, Drew, but like if the player is there that you select, David Bailey, after they get drafted and that card gets read out, it's handed to David Bailey and his people, and they keep it. It's a nice little memento. If that player is not at the draft, Goodell apparently, it either goes to the back and who knows what happens to it, or it gets given out. And with the 16th overall pick, they took Kenyon Sadiq. Goodell looked over to our section of Jet fans that are right by the stage, and he went, and like indicated, like, does someone want this? And Mikey Hulkhands, the big Jets fan with the Hulkhands, he came over and got it, and it was his to keep, and that was beautiful. And I said in my head, well, if we trade back into the first round, I hope I make eye contact with Roger Goodell. The Omar Cooper Jr. thing happens. We're going, it's crazy. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, Roger Goodell looks at our section. We make eye contact, and he's like, wink. And I'm like, I run over to the draft stage, and Goodell hands over to me, and I'm like, and so, yeah, that was one of the coolest moments of my life. So that's definitely getting framed, baby. So very nice. Anywho, sorry, Drew, that got my engine.
No, that's more interesting than anything I have to say. That's a super cool story.
Okay, great.
That's awesome.
Well, let's get into it here because I've heard some people describe it this way. Oh, now they get the wide receiver. Now I see the vision is what some people have sort of said. I get we're supposed to be grading these individually of other picks, but like now they have a wide receiver and a tight end and everything else, obviously, that they have on the team. But what did you make of the grade for trading back in as well? They give up a 5th round pick, a compensatory selection they got earlier this offseason to move up from pick 33 to pick 30 to secure that they got wide receiver Omar Cooper Jr. out of Indiana. And apparently, from the rumors I heard at the draft, the Bills wanted him at 31. They got pissed that the Jets blocked them to get them, so they just traded out of the first round. So that feels like a double for Buffalo. Suck it, baby. But anywho, Drew Beatty, great on this pick.
Yeah, I'll give this one like right on the line between like a B and a B+. Because I feel like, again, I talked about him last week. He's just a really high floor addition to the receiver room, and I think that is what the Jets need right now. I've never been somebody that was like first round high on Omar Cooper Jr. personally. I was much more of a fan of like the day 2 Omar Cooper Jr. hype beginning of the cycle. But I understand why he was kind of like that meteoric riser. There's a lot to like about him just because he's, a really, really fun yak guy, really electric with the ball in his hands. He's a good athlete. I thought he left some to be desired as a separator for how good of an athlete that he is. So he's a high floor, but there's also room to grow there. If you can really kind of develop his nuance and his technicality as a route runner, there's some extra room to grow there. But I think, again, the trade value I like a lot. You didn't give up that much to get back up into the first round. You get somebody to pair with Garrett Wilson on the outside. I think Omar Cooper probably works best as a power slot if I get to just pick one spot for him. But I think he's somebody with a lot of versatility positionally. He can play all 3 receiver spots. I don't think he's limited to just one. I probably feel a little better about him on the inside than the boundary, but I don't think he can't play on the boundary or anything. But yeah, I mean, he's really, I think he's a very Rashee Rice type player to me. I've comped him to him a couple of times. Just kind of a gadgety power slot. You really want to get the ball, create ways to get the ball in his hands. Just a fun gadgety type player who can also be a solid high floor receiver.
The thing that excites me is, of course, trading back in, blocking a division rival. But people commonly mocked Omar Cooper Jr. to the Jets at 16. They got him at 30. The player that they all thought they were going to get, and they did end up getting, but they got him at 30, and all it cost him was a 5th rounder. And the 33 overall pick would have, I assumed, if he was still on the board, would have been Omar Cooper. So you just move up a little. So really the only true pick you're giving up, obviously, is that 5th rounder. And who knows who that could be. So, I mean, oh my goodness, that was absolutely titillating here. So I see a couple memberships are gifted. And Drew, let's get some of these in here. T-Town Jet just gifted a Boy Green Coffee Club membership. Let's go. And that membership just went to Addison out in our audience. And Addison says, well, let me pay that forward. And he gifted a 5-pack of Boy Green Coffee Club membership. So let's go, baby. Now, Drew, I said if we start getting memberships in here, we're going to start seeing some of this from the draft. So here we go.
Indiana. So a little more help for Gangrene.
That is my reaction when they drafted Omar Cooper Jr. on NFL Network. When they threw it over to us, I was jumping like a little schoolgirl. So appreciate that. And Addison, we have a few other of those videos that we will play in due time as memberships and other things keep flowing in here. So Addison, thank you so much for that. And we'll get back to that Omar Cooper Jr. guy here in just a second. So thank you, Addison. You have 5 raffle tickets to our contest. You guys have a few more days left in that contest. The 5 new members to the Boy Green Coffee Club, by the way, are Jet Life 3215. We have Keefe Committee. We have Yank Baseball, Broadway Jedi. Ooh, that's a good name. David Hall Jr. You guys are all now members to the Boy Green Coffee Club. Excellent. All right, now let's get a little bit more Omar Cooper Jr. in here. And thank you, by the way, to Addison and T-Town Jet. Floor ceiling here for Omar Cooper Jr., Drew Beatty.
Yeah, I mean, again, floor here, I think he's a really just solid wide receiver 2 kind of guy, just a mid-range wide receiver 2, where he is somebody you can scheme up touches to. He is maybe not the best separator, the most reliable kind of catch point guy on the outside, but he's just somebody who can be, versatile positionally and can give you schemed up touches that it's always going to have a floor straight from that. He's a good athlete. So I think floor is just, low end wide receiver 2 probably. But again, if you can really improve this guy's salesmanship and his suddenness, I feel like he just has a bad tendency to kind of telegraph when he's going to break. So I think if you can really improve the nuance and the salesmanship as a separator and kind of beef him up a little bit at the catch point, he's somebody that I think can really put the full bag together and be a really, really awesome weapon next to Garrett Wilson. I don't know that I see like full-on wide receiver 1 potential ever with Omar Cooper Jr., but I could definitely see him turning into like a high-end wide receiver 2 next to Garrett Wilson.
Hallelujah. That's beautiful, Drew Beatty. Beautiful. Let's squeeze this in real quick. NY Jets fandom, a member for 21 months, has sent in a super chat. Shout out.
Wow.
Who there, Drew Beatty, would you have picked with the first 3 picks if you were the general manager, Drew?
Let's see if I can go off the top of my head. I got to remember who all was there at these spots.
Right.
I mean, I was a pretty big proponent for Arvell Reese at 2 rather than Bailey through the whole cycle. So I'll say Arvell Reese at 2.
Okay.
Just going off of my personal board, I was a really big Casey Concepcion guy the whole cycle. I think if you wanted to add a receiving threat at 16, I probably would have pulled the trigger on KC there. I know he went 8 spots later.
Cleveland.
24. Yeah. And then I don't know that in that scenario you make the same trade up back into the first round, but say that you do,
right?
I think you're probably looking at one of those first round corners that fell there, like a Colton Hood. Maybe I know you, and again, we haven't talked about the third guy yet, so I don't want to spoil my thoughts on that one. But yeah, but if you want to trade up there were some really good corners left at the back end of the first round. So I'll say that. But again, I probably need to take a deeper look in how the board fell to give a super confident answer in that.
All right, beautiful. Thank you, Drew, for that. Another membership being gifted. We'll get this in from our number 1 Austrian Jet fan, baby. I will never get sick of those draft chimes, by the way. So hopefully those continue to reign for the high heavens. You would think like, wow, Paul, you heard that 250 some odd times. Does that get you? Nope. It sure doesn't, but thanks for asking. So there you go. Another membership added to the top of the bingo card. Austrian Jet fan, you have 66 raffle tickets to our contest, and that membership went to in our audience. And then we'll get back to our draft grades that are happening here. That went to Kerosene. Kerosene, you are now a member to the Boy Green Coffee Club. Thank you, guys, very much. More on that to come. Let's go to the second round, Drew, and this is something else that happened during the draft. The Jets were picking at 44. it seemed like every Jet fan in our section were like, Jacob Rodriguez, the Texas Tech linebacker, come on, baby. We're doing a rain dance. We're like, oh, my God, he's going to fall to us. It's unbelievable. And then the Miami Dolphins took him 43, and the Jets were like, oh, let's trade back. I'm sure that was a random coincidence. They traded back as soon as the Dolphins selected Jacob Rodriguez, and they go back to pick 50, and they take Indiana, go back to the well. Why not? Number 50th overall, D'Angelo Ponce, who is comp, according to Dan and Jeremiah, was Aaron Glenn. So give us the grade on this pick, Drew Beatty.
This is going to be my first A of this draft. I'm going to give it an A-. And it's not just because I mocked the same pick in the second round for the Jets. I'm not just doing that. But D'Angelo Ponce is a player that I really, really liked. I had him 30th on my board, and the Jets get him at 50. Really good value for me. I think they needed to make an addition into the corner room, right? I think you have a couple of question marks there. I think if you needed to field a corner room right now with what the Jets have, you can. But I wanted to see them make kind of a relevant addition, and they did. I really like D'Angelo Ponce. I know the size is a problem. 5'8", you don't feel super confident about that. But he is one of the best cover guys in this entire class. I mean, he's got some of, if not the best mirror skills of any corner in this draft. He is a really, really smart player in zone. He's got a great click and close. He sees things develop well in front of him. Guy's got a quick trigger. Fun ball skills, too. I know he's a smaller guy, but he can play a lot bigger than he is at the catch point. He's competitive. He's feisty. I think he's a solid run defender, as much as you can be for somebody that's 5'8". So I know a lot of people see him as a nickel because he's smaller, and I just don't really agree with that in the modern NFL environment. I think that there are plenty of guys who are his size that have found success as boundary corners in the NFL, and I think his skill set is much better suited to a boundary corner rather than a nickel, and you just let Jarvis Brownlee be the guy on the inside. So I would personally play Ponce as a boundary guy, and assuming that is the plan for this pick, I'm probably a little bit lower if you're playing as him at nickel, but assuming the plan is him at boundary corner here. I really love Ponce's skill set. I think he's a guy that's going to be a starter really, really quickly in this defense. And I'm excited, obviously, to see Aaron Glenn get to coach him up. But, yeah, I'm a huge fan of Ponce. This is probably my favorite pick of their whole class.
Yeah, Aaron Glenn immediately after day 2, Jesus, said that he will play inside-outside, so he will not be just a slot guy or just a boundary guy, that he will float where is required. And I would imagine boundary is probably, if I had to guess, I think Brandon Stevens will be a starter. George Brownlee has a really good shot to be a starter. And then on the other side, it's a cage match between Nashawn Wright, Azaria Thomas, one of your other favorite players from last year, and D'Angelo Ponce. But again, there will be some rotation. It's not just going to be 3 corners playing on the field. So, other corners will get an opportunity here. So on Ponce, what's the floor ceiling here at the NFL level, Drew Beatty?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you a player comp for a floor here.
Okay, sure.
We'll say, I don't know if any of you, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I'm a Birmingham native and I'm a Titans fan. I'm down here from Birmingham, Alabama, big UAB fan. There's a guy who came out of UAB a couple of years ago, Darius Williams, player for the Rams. He is kind of my go-to example for why I think smaller guys can play on the boundary. He was a 5'8", 5'9" kind of cover guy, a lot like Ponce. I think that's the floor for Ponce's. Worst case, you get a solid cover corner that maybe you don't trust him all the time in run defense as a boundary guy, and sometimes he gets picked on at the catch point. But just in general, he's a great zone corner on the boundary. But I believe that the sky is kind of the limit for, no pun intended, for a shorter guy. But Ponce, I mean, he really, I don't see a lot of limiting factors outside of the height. I just think that he is a guy that can really be a reliable low end number 1, high end number 2 cover corner in this defense for the next, at least his first contract. And it wouldn't shock me in the slightest if he's a second contract kind of guy.
No, terrific. There you go. D'Angelo Ponce, baby. Now, the Jets don't have a third-round pick, but Darren Muger revealed they tried to trade back into the third round, but a deal could not be struck. I don't know if this would have been the target if they did, but this was a surprise to me, Drew. In the 4th round, 103rd overall, they took Florida State defensive tackle Darryl Jackson Jr. And maybe I shouldn't have been surprised because I should have taken my own advice that I was handing out to the audience about the corner room. Like, the corner room on paper looks stacked. You're like, oh, boy, where would a new corner fit? And they draft D'Angelo Ponce. But if you look beyond the surface level, you're like, oh, wow, this guy's only on a 1-year deal, this guaranteed money. Wow, corner's going to be a need here very shortly. So defensive tackle, same sort of thing. Harrison Phillips, Jawan Briggs. The only one who's under contract in 2027 is T'Vondre Sweat. Everyone else is set to be a free agent. So maybe this made a lot more sense. So tell us about this big man out of Florida State, defensive tackle Darryl Jackson Jr. Give us a grade here.
Yeah, I'm going to give this one a C+. This is the one other pick in this draft that I wasn't totally sure of the process behind. And it's not really, I mean, this is about the range that I had Darryl Jackson in. It's not that I think it's a reach or anything necessarily. I think he's a solid player. I just, role-wise, I think he's going to be really redundant with T'Vondre Sweat. And I think he's kind of your just stereotypical nose tackle kind of guy. The one thing with Darryl Jackson that I watched is he's a really funny build for a defensive tackle because he is ridiculously strong in the upper half. Like you see him get to the point of attack sometimes and just ragdoll some of these offensive linemen. Like he is the Hulk strong in his upper body, but he's kind of like this huge stacked guy on kind of like a V-taper, like toothpick legs. He can be really, really top heavy and he plays like it sometimes. He'll play really off balance because he's got just a really disproportionate build. So, the anchor kind of doesn't show up as much as you'd want sometimes. There's not a ton of lower body power, not nearly as much as there is upper half. But again, I think he's just a really, solid run-stopping nose tackle. I don't see a huge amount of juice as a pass rusher. I don't think he's going to come in and be some huge pocket pusher from the interior for the Jets. But so it's not anything to do with him as a player necessarily. It's just that I don't know what he gives you that T'Vondre Sweat doesn't already give you and better, So again, I'm going to give it a C+. It's not that I think it's a terrible pick. There's probably other directions positionally that I would have gone, and stuff that you can could have addressed there with this pick. But again, I like Darryl Jackson as a player. I think if you want to get just more depth at nose tackle and some future contingency plans on the interior, maybe if T'Vondre Sweat isn't necessarily part of your long-term plans like he is, then why not? I guess again, this is the range I had him in. I think he fills a role. I just think that it's a role that they already kind of had filled.
Fair enough. Floor ceiling for Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think he's another kind of high floor guy, right? That's the theme
good.
that I think the Jets were going to chase, where I think they're a player that needs to take low risk guys. And I think Darryl Jackson is just always going to be he's always going to have a place as a run defender. I don't necessarily know that he has the highest ceiling. I mean, again, if you can really fill out that lower half and maybe that brings more of a bull rush and he gets some drive power going as a pocket pusher, maybe, he can really develop as a pass rusher. I thought his hands were kind of a mess too. I didn't think he was kind of the most technically advanced guy. But again, if you put him on the long-term development track and really get some pass rush juice behind him, I think he turned into a real, starting caliber guy on the interior. But I think that probably the floor is that he's just a pure rotational run defender guy and nothing really more than that.
I think the next pick is the one everyone wants to know how you feel about this. The Jets traded up in the 4th round, and I was there at the draft, and they selected Clemson quarterback Kade Klubnik. And if you watch my YouTube short, I have a video of oh my God, the Jets traded up. I wonder what this is for. And then there's some time from trading up to the pick being announced. I do another video where it's live and the big TV's behind me. And I'm like, all right, is this for a quarterback? But Kade Klubnik is not who I thought was on the bingo card. So Jets trade up and they get the developmental quarterback and Clemson quarterback Kade Klubnik. I am fascinated to hear because this is just a guy me and you have not talked a lot about throughout this entire process.
Yeah.
Which I think is sometimes fun. Give us the grade, Drew. Kade Klubnik.
I'm going to give this one a B+. I think, I've mentioned him one time the whole draft cycle on this show. We were doing our chat picks the position mock draft, and we picked quarterback in the 2nd round. And I said it was between Nussmeier and Klubnik for me. And I know you were kind of surprised to hear that Klubnik is a name that you'd heard a bunch. And he was a guy that I really liked in the summer, and I thought he was going to take a really big jump, and I just didn't see the jump. But even then, I didn't think his 2025 tape was bad necessarily. He was a back end of the top 100 guy for me. I think I had him 88th or something. So, I mean, this is, again, the range I had him in. I think if you're going to take a swing on a quarterback in this class, Klubnik is probably one of the guys I would have taken a swing on. Now, again, I understand if anybody's upset at this pick. I don't know that I love them chasing quarterback this early in a class like this. There's a lot of other quality players you could have added here at 110. But again, if you want to take a swing on a quarterback, I think Kade Klubnik's one of the better shots in this class. I think he's one of the few guys that has real upside. in this quarterback class. And I think he's got the traits, right? He's got a strong arm. He's got he's got a lot of drive behind his passes. He's got a lot of velocity. He brings a really solid skill set as a runner. He's somebody that really flushes out your ground game from the quarterback position. Really reliable rushing threat. And I think my biggest issues with Klubnik are, most of any issue with these developmental quarterback upside things is I don't think he's a great processor. And I think that's the most important part of quarterback play at the next level. Now there were flashes really of him working through a pure progression offense and getting through his progressions and working pre-snap into post-snap. So he's shown that he can do it a couple of times. I just wish it was more consistent because it was pretty few and far between on that Clemson tape. And my biggest issue with him is how badly pressure can rattle him. He's somebody that really speeds up everything. Every single one of his mechanics, they speed up and they get sloppy as soon as he gets under pressure. And that caused a lot of his interceptions because he would hurry up his footwork, he'd get inaccurate, he'd miss high or he'd miss short. And all of those resulted in interceptions a lot at Clemson this past year. So if you can improve his pocket sense and get him kind of calmer under pressure, he needs to just get more okay with being hit, which is easier said than done. But if you can really, again, I think he's a guy that has the physical tools and has shown enough flashes mentally for me to be okay taking a shot on him. So again, if you want to take a developmental swing on a quarterback, I think Klubnik was one of my favorite options this year, and I don't have an issue with his pick at all.
Drew, a year ago, because all of us freaks can never read a mock draft too early, I saw that Kade Klubnik was a top 10 pick in the way too early mock draft. It was way too early, obviously. It was a top 10 pick, and the Jets ended up getting him in the 4th round. What do you attest? Because even Muji admitted it at the press conference after, like, clearly Kade Klubnik had a bad year. He's coming off an off year, whatever, down year, whatever you want to describe this past year. Is the first round guy in there somewhere? Were people just being too aggressive with the first round conversation previously, and this is more so what he truly is? What do you make of all that?
Yeah, I think it comes from a place of, because I'm somebody that was guilty of being too high on Klubnik in the summer too. I was somebody that was pretty bullish on him, and I think it really it comes from summer scouting in general tends to be a very projection based time for scouting. And because, these guys are going to have another year before the draft, we tend to be very lenient with our projections on these guys. And I think for me personally, he was somebody that I just, thought was going to take a much bigger leap than he did. And I think he kind of just looked the same this year as he did the year before. So I mean, maybe a little bit worse, but mentally, I don't think there was really any regression. I just wouldn't say there was progression, So I think it was just kind of lateral for him. So, I don't know that I've ever seen a first-round quarterback on tape. I think I saw first-round quarterback tools, and we were hoping he was going to take the mental leap to be a first-round guy, and he just never did. But, I mean, again, like I said, there's been enough flashes to be hopeful about.
Okay, well, so what's the floor ceiling for Kade Klubnik? A lot of Jet fans are curious.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, I'm going to be pretty boring in this conversation. I think the floor is that he's just a solid backup, right, which is not a bad thing for the Jets. They need one of those. With a 4th round pick, I think if you can get a high quality backup, that's not a bad thing. And I mean, ceiling wise, if you can get those that calm him down in the pocket, get rid of the pressure issues, and get him to settle into a pure progression type offense and get him to really hone in the processing as he goes through his rookie contract, I could see a starting caliber ceiling in a guy like Kade Klubnik. And I don't think it's that crazy. I don't think it's that far fetched. I don't know that I see it in the short term, but if you can, like I said, if you can fix the pocket and the pressure issues and get those processing flashes to be more consistent, then he's got the tools to be a starter.
So, Drew Beatty, are you saying he has a chance to be the Jets' franchise quarterback?
But I choose to believe that it is. I believe. I believe. I believe.
I believe.
I believe.
Drew, is that what you're saying?
I'm saying there's a chance,
Yes.
I don't know that I can ever fully commit to that stuff until I see a better processor, but I will say that there's flashes. That's all you can ask for in a 4th round quarterback like this.
By the way, quick salute to Tank for Ty that is now Chubb for Club. He says, I believe. Great pivot name on that. Love it.
That's a great pivot name.
Great pivot. Okay, we got 2 more players to get through here on this class. Finally, they address the interior offensive line in the 6th round. Some more trading happening, moving up. Miami offensive lineman Inez Cooper. Grade the pick.
Yeah, you know what? A lot of credit to the Jets for how they finished out this draft. I'm going to finish these last 2 picks with an A on both of these guys. I really, really love the last 2 picks of this draft. And for a draft class, I think just projecting into the future here a little bit, you're going to see a lot of these 6th and 7th round picks in this draft class struggle to make rosters because the late day 3 in this class was just dry as a bone. There just wasn't a lot of talent left. And the Jets managed to come away with 2 guys I had early day 3 grades on at 188 and 228. So I really, really impressive late day 3 for the Jets to me. Inez Cooper, I had an early 4th round grade on. He was one of my favorite day 3 guards in this class. He's got some crazy length. He could probably play tackle if he wanted to. If you wanted to use him like that, because he's got 34-inch arms, super, super strong. He's a nasty finisher, strong anchor. Inez Cooper, I mean, I think he's a great run blocker. The feet can get kind of heavy sometimes. He can be kind of clunky and uncoordinated with the footwork, and the hand usage could get better. But, I mean, this guy has traits all day at guard. And I don't think he's a guy you want working out in space a ton. He's not a great linear athlete, but just a lot of raw power, a lot of length, a lot of anchor. And it would not surprise me in the slightest if we're talking about Inez Cooper as a starting guard in 2 years. This guy is one of my favorite day 3 picks of the whole class. And he is just a ton of traits to really be excited about. And I think if you're going to take a dart swing on a guard, he's a guy he's got it.
Okay, well, let's go. I want another A, teacher. So let's go to the 7th round, 228th overall. The New York Jets select Kansas State defensive back BJ Payne. Prediction: Payne. Give it to us, Drew.
Yeah, that's another guy. I mean, I'm going to give it another A because he's a guy that I just every single pick that happened once we got past like the middle of the 4th round, like somewhere into the 5th, it was just like, okay, where is BJ Payne going to go? And then he was still there in the 7th round somehow. And I'm not going to I won't lie to you and say the tape was good because it wasn't. The tape was pretty rough. He's a guy that needs to learn how to play football. You know, he needs to pick a position and learn how to play that. And to me, I think his best case is switching to either boundary corner or more likely that kind of big nickel hybrid guy is where he needs to be. I don't love him as a center fielder type safety. I don't think he's that kind of coverage guy. I think he needs to stick in that kind of nick him and worry, as we use that buzzword. That big nickel hybrid role is where he needs to be. This guy, fun fact about VJ Payne, he's got a longer wingspan than Penei Sewell. This guy, the length that he has at safety is unbelievable. I mean, you look at it, he can scratch his ankles standing up. I mean, he is 6'3", and he's also just incredibly lanky. The arms are ridiculous, and you see that show up on tape. I mean, there are throws that quarterbacks think they can make around this guy that are just out of the realm of possibility, that he can jump the lane, but he has the length to do it. Unbelievable length with VJ Payne. He's a solid athlete, not the rangiest guy, but for his size, I think he's a plus athlete. And I mean, you can like, there are shockwaves that come from some of this guy's tackles. The stopping power he brings as a run support defender, he hits like a hammer. So if you just want to use this guy as kind of a floating box safety, almost more of a linebacker, I think he is somebody that has that length and that physicality as a run defender. The coverage tape is just bad. The quick and close is not very good. The eye discipline in zone is bad. So you've got a lot of places to grow as a coverage defender with him, but he has got all of the physical traits. I think he is a guy that can really come in as a rotational big nickel on early downs and be a really plus run defender, almost more as a linebacker than a safety, like I said. But he's got all the traits. He should have gone probably at least 2 rounds earlier than he did. And this is one of my favorite picks of the whole class for the Jets.
Well, way to end strong, Drew Beatty. Good Lord have mercy. So we have graded every single pick, Drew. I know we're out of time here, but I just want to thank you on behalf of the fans. You've joined us all season, all off season long. It's been months of coverage, and now we finally reached the point. You graded the class, and we'll be sharing a lot of your takes out on social media so other fans can check out the full grading system and refer them back to the show. But Drew, I told you this privately, but I'll tell you it publicly. What an honor. Thank you. I appreciate the hard work that you put in, your big board, the draft conversation. It takes balls, okay, to come on the show and give takes that people can yell at you for or praise you for, and you just put yourself out there. Not everyone's willing to put themselves out there. So, Drew Beatty, absolute massive levels of respect to you, and hopefully we can do this for many more years to come.
I hope so. Thank you, Paul. Again, hopefully for your sake, you guys don't see my face for a good couple of months. Hopefully I'm not on here as early as I was this year. Paul, thank you so much for having me on this entire draft process. It's been a blast every single Monday. Everybody in the chat, I know we don't always get along. You guys don't always like me. But I always love getting the chance to come on here and yell at you guys about draft stuff. So everybody involved, Paul, everybody watching, thank you guys so much for this entire draft process. It's been a dream. I appreciate it every single year more than you guys know. So thank you.
All right, there he is, Drew Beatty joining us on the show. Shout out to Drew. What an absolutely magnificent pre-draft process. It was great to have him on all year long. And yes, as we get ready for the 2027 NFL draft, I hope we don't talk to Drew any earlier than we have to. With all due respect, 27 draft is going to be exciting. But I'm excited for the season, man. I want to see these guys line up. I want to see Geno Smith throw touchdown passes. I want to get pretty excited about all that stuff personally. So I hope we don't talk about the 27 draft till January, February even. That would be great for me if that was the result for the New York Jets. But excellent job there from Drew Beatty. Again, Drew, for those who don't know and don't know how guests work for the most part, Drew comes on here free of charge. I don't pay Drew Beatty a dime. And quite frankly, none of these guests that join the show get paid a single penny. They come on of their own volition and they come on of their own volunteering time. So again, I see that some of you love Drew. Some of you hated Drew. Some of you were just in the middle on Drew. But I'll tell you this, Drew brought it every single week, whether you agreed or disagreed with him. So again, massive level of respect to Drew Beatty. He was on with us for half of the draft cycle last year and the full draft cycle this year. Absolutely spectacular. We have 400 people in the room. Let me do a quick check here. If we surpassed over 8,600 at the end of that conversation, it's loading. It's loading. Yes, we've surpassed. We're now at 8,600 subscribers, baby. Let's go.
So for a team that didn't have one interception last year, they're trying to help themselves out. We got an option here.
Let's go. Thank you guys so much for the support. 8,600 subscribers. We are 1,400 away from 10,000. We got a nice surge at the draft. That's so cool. I pinch myself. That is absolutely amazing. So thank you, everybody out there in the audience. That is spectacular. We're going to take a timeout. I'm going to answer your super chats. I'm going to answer your phone calls and everything else. We'll take a timeout and we'll be right back, baby, to celebrate, talk draft. I'll take your phone calls as we're back here at the home facilities, and we'll be right back after this short break.
1, 2, 3. Talking Jets football, man. Moron! Bugging daily. The New York Jets football club. Offense,
Offense, defense, special teams, watch Jets football with Boy Green. Everyone,
J-E-T-S, Jets. Boy Green, fucking daily, fucking daily, fucking daily. Talking Jets football, man. Boy Green, fucking daily, fucking daily, fucking daily. Offense, defense, special teams, watch Jets football with Boy Green. J-E-T-S, Jets. Let's go!
Let's go, everybody. Welcome back to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your podcast. The phone lines are now open. That's a pinned comment on youtube.com/boygreen25. Feel free to call into the show. I want to give a super chat shout out to Nanga Iboko here, who sent in a $10 super chat, baby.
Wow.
We'll add that to your total. Thank you so much this month, and give you guys an update on the raffle prizes that's happening this month. But a $10 super chat, thank you very much. Regarding what the Jets did in the 2026 NFL draft, us Jet fans should take the advice of the great Ric Flair. Whether you like it or don't like it, learn to love it. Oh, wow, that's a great Ric Flair quote I haven't heard in a hot second, but I like it. And I will tell you this, like David Bailey, for instance. And I'll throw up this picture, which, again, I love this picture, and I'm going to have this framed and have it behind us on Boy Green Daily. We said it before the pick was announced, right? So the Raiders pick Fernando Mendoza, and we all huddle up as a group and say, we want Arvell Reese. But boys, whoever it is, if it's Reese or Bailey, we will embrace him. We will love him. He bleeds green and white. He is one of us. And it was David Bailey. And you saw our reaction. We screamed Jet chants and got excited. He came over to meet us, and we got to sort of see him for a few minutes. He was high-fiving people, hugging us, took this selfie with all of us reacting with him. He's one of us now, man, and I hope he's the greatest pass rusher in NFL history. I hope he changes out that black jacket for a gold jacket. I hope he's a Hall of Famer, baby. So David Bailey, that's not who I had on my bingo card, but you know what? He led the league, led college football, in sacks. So if you could do some of that here at this level, we'd appreciate it. So Nenge Boko, thank you so much for the super chat, and shout out to the one and only David Bailey, baby. By the way, here are the prizes for this month's contest, okay? 50-pack of New York Jets trading cards, that Sauce Gardner jersey. And I have an update, right? I told you guys would have a Jets draft hat. Here's this. The draft hat that you will receive is live from the NFL draft. No, it's not the one that was signed by Curtis Martin, unfortunately. But I'll tell you this. The draft hat you will get for winning this prize is live from the NFL draft. I received this hat from the draft. It was there with me in Pittsburgh, and that is getting thrown in. So that will be the hat that you guys receive, will be live from Pittsburgh. So you get the draft hat live from Pittsburgh, a snapback. You get the 50-pack of New York Jets trading cards. You get the Sauce Gardner jersey. So, folks, this contest runs through the end of April. All you have to do is spend $3 on the channel. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that little money sign, super chat, gift channel memberships, and enjoy the ride, folks. So hopefully you guys can continue to jump on that train. Thank you so much for 8,600 subscribers. That is absolutely warms my heart. So thank you to all the new subscribers that have joined the Army over the last couple of days. Absolutely electric. Hey, that's what Bob Lederer wanted. He drew the line in the sand. Hey, let's get 8,600. And booyah, presto, it has occurred. All right, we're going to go to the phone lines. It's a pinned comment on youtube.com/boygreen25. If you'd like to call into the show, now is the time to do so. Let's kick it off with Hep.
Hey, guys. Hey, Paul. Hey, first of all, where are you calling from?
Where am I calling from?
Yeah. Is it your house?
So
Because it's not your normal
yeah,
setup.
I'm still yeah, this is weird, right? So yes. Oh yeah, which by the way, I saw this from my dad earlier. So let me throw this in here. He's like, why the change in office space? Did someone steal your stapler? No stapler was stolen, but thanks, Pop. I appreciate you working that reference in. But no, I am at my house. I went to go do the draft show, but my fiance is doing a reassessment of everything. So
you're gone for 4 days. You're for 3 days.
Yeah, that's what I said. I came in and I'm like, what the hell is going on in here? So currently it's inhabited by a lot of other things. There's some things getting readjusted. So I was like, well, I guess the living room is where we're doing this. So yes, I'm on the recliner right now in the middle of the show.
Okay.
But sometimes you got to call an audible at the line of scrimmage. So we are in the house. There were, maybe the office is moving. Apparently, I might be being informed of that decision. So I'll keep you guys posted. But yes, we'll see if I'm doing the 11 o'clock show. That may be solo where I'm doing some more draft talk in a couple hours. So we'll see if that's over there or in a different place or here. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. But yes, I am in the living room. Yeah.
You definitely claim one of those rooms upstairs and make it your own. Paint it
Maybe
green.
that's what's going to happen here. It looks like maybe I'm being shoved in that direction. So,
I think you are. And, but you get all that. You have like a whole wall of just photos, like all these photos you took, and you could show people. Then you have a wall of your books and a wall of whatever. Maybe
good
jerseys,
idea.
And then hats all over the top. You could really do it nice. And you write it all off. Get green paint, put the green paint back there, get some lighting, and that's all you can write all that off on your taxes.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Now the other thing is, I was curious. I know that you got that hat from your pop and your mom for your birthday. Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
And I was curious, is that the hat you had autographed?
No. So thankfully not. So again, things you don't know unless you go to the draft. So if you're in that section, waiting in your seat is a swag bag, and inside was Jets gifts. So day one, there's a brand new Jets draft hat in there. There was I haven't even unpacked everything from it, but there's like a Jets official draft shirt. There's some other swag things in there. So a hat was in there. And I'm like, okay. But Curtis Martin didn't announce the picks till day 2. So swag bag was there day 1. Cool. Bring the swag bag back home / hotel Airbnb. I came back for night 2. Another swag bag was there. With so it also had a draft hat in there. And it had some other items like a hoodie. And I'm like, whoa, okay, this is nice. So that I'm glad it didn't, because ultimately what happened is, so one of the snapback hats that I had, that I got from the draft, Curtis Martin autographed, and it was sweet. And I had it. I'm like, oh, this is sweet. Like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And I saw someone else asking, like, oh, Paul, you going to put that in a future raffle? I won't, and it's because I don't have it anymore. I gave it to Johnny Boy. So
that's what I wanted to address, because I think that was a really. If Bob Lederer was here, he'd tell you it was a real mensch move. It was really a good guy thing to do. I mean, Johnny's a great guy too. I mean, he kind of was the whole thing that started you to get down there in the first place. But that was really a nice thing to do, man. And I got to say that Lou B is definitely, he's got to be a super fan. I mean, he's up there for sure. Does he have an emoji yet? We got to get him an emoji.
Yeah, that's true. We don't have an emoji for Lou B. We haven't done an emoji in a long time, so maybe we'll have to rally memberships. I would say, no one is more deserving. He's obviously been very involved with phone calls and love and the tailgate, obviously, and wanting to do the tailgate again. And obviously everything he did to contribute to this trip, clearly, of that unbelievable, unreal experience again, 11 people on the planet got to experience what we just experienced this weekend. And me and Lou B were one of the 11. And obviously I was only one of the 11 because Lou B invited me. So, Lou B definitely deserves an emoji. There's no question about it. Shout out to Johnny Boy. He got to be there for the Omar Cooper thing, which again, my heart is warm that he somehow jumped the fence and was with us for the trade up back into the first round, and he to be on camera and for us to experience that together was pretty cool. But I know that he loves Curtis Martin. So do I. But he didn't get to be there for that. So I saw this hat. It was cool. And to be honest, personally, I wanted to keep it and put it in a beautiful case and say, I love you. But I just I don't know. Something was like, you know what? Man, he missed that part of it. And I'm only there because he invited me initially. And then Lou B jumped over the top. So I said, you know what? This is the God saying something here. Here you go. And he got all emotional getting him and stuff. So I told him, though, if he asked me tomorrow if I want it back, I'm taking it. So I said, don't ask me. Just, keep it, enjoy it, buddy. And it's such a cool, again, and I will just say this again on Curtis Martin. there are so many people, and I said this before, where like if you're at training camp or something, you're getting an autograph, they just squiggle. There's nothing. There's no autograph, no thought. Just yep,
Oh yeah,
yep.
It's beautiful
And you don't
signature.
care. Curtis, when I said so, like he was just very. I don't even know the word to describe methodical. I don't know. So he was standing there and just like he was. One fan was talking to him. He shook his hand. He's just making direct eye contact. I'm like, "Excuse me, Curtis," and then he just like turns to me, and then I'm just like, Curtis, would you mind? Could you please sign this hat? And he just like stared at me for like an extra second. Like it was just, I don't even know how to describe. It was just interesting. I don't know the word. And then so he went and took the hat, and then he just was like the way he was doing it, and I like realized it. Like he was just the time he was taking to sign the hat. I almost like looked around, like, wow, he is really dedicating whatever amount of time to sign this hat, make sure it's perfect. And he put the 28, and then just handed it back to me and said, "Nice to meet you." I was like, wow. And he had a firm handshake and everything. He was just super nice, and he spent time, and he came back a second time. I couldn't believe it. Like so, initially, draft pick happens that he announces, which is D'Angelo Ponce. He goes in the back. We're like, oh, I guess Curtis Martin's not coming down. Yeah, because initially when legends or whatever were making the picks, they immediately ran down into the fans like dog piled in and dove in. I was like, whoa, oh my God, that could be Curtis Martin? And he didn't. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, this weekend's awesome, so I'm not going to complain. And then he came down, hung out with us for a bit, and then he left.
Awesome.
And I was like, oh, that was so cool. And then almost like a tap on the shoulder, I'm like, whoa, Curtis Martin's back. Like 20 minutes later, he came back and took pictures, autographs, did everything. I was like, wow. So
was he walking?
That's awesome.
Was he walking okay? Was he walking with a little bit of a limp?
I didn't notice if he was walking with a limp. I didn't notice it.
Because running backs, their hips go on them. That's a bad
100%.
thing.
And think about all the wear and tear. I mean, he at the time was a top 5 all-time leading rusher when he hung up his cleats. Like, I mean, my goodness.
So I was thinking about Kade Klubnik, and the way you got to say his name is you have to say it like Jerry Lewis.
Okay.
Like Kade Klubnik. Back to pass. Kade Klubnik. There he goes, lady. Oh boy. Like kind of like that. That's all I got, guys. See ya.
I love it. Thank you so much, Jeff. Shout out to Kade Klubnik for joining us. For being part of the team. I'm excited, man. I wanted them to take a quarterback. That's not the quarterback I thought they were going to get, but they got him. And I know a lot of people have complained about that pick. Folks, let's all be candid with each other, if I may. If we could evaluate quarterbacks, would we be here right now? Probably not. We'd be in an NFL building working for a team. So with all due respect to myself and everyone in the audience that's complaining about this pick, let me say these words. Let me count how many there are. Okay, one of them's a contraction, so work with me here. But we got 4 words. We don't know shit. Okay? We don't. We have absolutely no idea if Kade Klubnik is good, bad, or indifferent. But a lot of people, if you hear on the streets, would like to tell you that he's terrible. And the Jets, what would they possibly could have bucket that unbelievable trade up for Kade Klubnik? Friggin' take a smoke break, Jet fans, for God's sakes. I mean, what are we doing here? Okay, it's day 3. They identified the guy. They traded up for their quarterback, and they got him. And they believe. And boy, they have the best quarterback evaluation team they've had in a long time. Frank Reich has played the position forever. Bill Musgrave has played the position forever. They met and wined and dined with every quarterback under the sun, and they selected Kade Klubnik as a developmental guy. It is low risk, high reward. If it doesn't work out, Kade Klubnik was a 4th-round draft choice. And sometimes you have to be willing to get up to the plate in baseball and swing. And sometimes you're going to miss. Sometimes you're going to hit. And the higher upside thing is he could be a long-term backup forever. That would be a massive win. If he could be a franchise quarterback, God bless America. That'd be phenomenal. If he turns into that, then your 3 first-round – is he your Dak Prescott in the 4th round? And your 3 first-round picks next year, build around him, or you trade him and extrapolate assets and everything else. So I've heard a lot of complaints about the Kade Klubnik thing. I'm sure I haven't even heard the amount of complaints because I was at the draft. So I'm sure I didn't even get the full shish kebab from people of how much they truly hate that pick. But I don't know, man. I just think that sometimes you just gotta breathe a little bit, man. And here's what I'm hoping to do for you guys. I am really good friends with the voice of Clemson, Don Munson. He has joined my radio show for 1,000 years. He's been calling Clemson football for a long time. I reach out to him. We'll see if we can book that interview. I would love to get the hot and heavy on Kade Klubnik. Kade Klubnik? Get the hot and heavy and find out what it's all about and everything else. So, I mean, hopefully we get a lot more analysis coming up. Again, the phone lines are open. That's a pin comment on youtube.com/boygreen25. I see we have a massive super chat coming in here from Philliam, $30.
Wow.
Thank you, Phil. Here. Happy belated birthday, Paul. As I said the other day, thanks to you, Luby, and Johnny, this was the most enjoyable draft of my life. I truly felt like I was part of it. Let's go Jets 2026. Let's freaking go.
Indiana. So a little more help for Gangrene.
I mean, we were just elated with all those picks, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it the way we did. Mikey Holkans, who I got to meet, I knew of him. He's a huge Jets fan, but I got to meet him, and he just said that was the most electric pit draft we've ever had. And he said it was because of you guys, like me and Luby and stuff. And I was like, man, that warms my heart. I just try to always be enthusiastic, and I feel like that's infectious energy. So he was super thrilled with how it all came out and said he loved that experience. He said, I didn't even have to ask you guys to hype up. You were hyping me up. And I said, phenomenal. I'm glad. So thank you guys for supporting. I am glad that you guys appreciated the coverage. More to come. I'm going through my phone, other videos and pictures and things. So stay tuned to the YouTube shorts. I'll keep trying to update you guys on everything that's coming through here for sure. So I appreciate that. Very much. Philliam will add this to your raffle ticket total here. You have 30 raffle tickets. I'll update that on the leaderboard here in just a moment. Thank you so much for sending that along, Philliam. All right, let's go back to the phone lines here. Up next, Kyle Clifton.
What's going on, Boy Green?
Hey, what's up, buddy? And again, I can't remember what show I maybe showed you it while you were on, but the Kyle Clifton jersey from our International Fan of the Year group. Oh yeah, I was like,
very nice.
I'm like,
I don't even have one of those, and that guy was my favorite.
I know, that was phenomenal. And by the way, he wore that on day 2. Day 1, he wore a custom Flash Gordon jersey. I was like, oh my, this guy's got an incredible jersey collection, spectacular. So that was wonderful.
Yeah, so I'm not going to belabor the Klubnik thing. I don't necessarily agree with you on it, but
please, actually, Kyle, I want, because I've only heard some of your thoughts on other shows, so I would love to hear. I heard that you're on the other side of this one, but I would love to hear why. Please,
I think the chat would probably feel otherwise.
Oh boy.
So I'm not going to go down that road, but I would want to talk about some of the other opportunity costs, like when you have stockpiled 4th round picks, right? And that's what they did when they got 128 back for going back with Pons.
Yep.
I think that they were doing that for maybe 2 reasons, right? Like to come back up into the 3rd round, or make sure that they have their powder dried to take a developmental quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So like seeing some of the guys that went in the 3rd, like I think Pregnon went later than we thought. I think that Jennings Stonker went later than he thought. I thought that Antonio Williams was there, who's a nice piece. Like if that guy is your wide receiver 4, then you're cooking with gas. It just, to me, like to burn the pick. I kind of like the traits of Cole Payton anyway, and he got taken almost 2 rounds later. Yep. And if you're gonna take a dart throw, and that's really what this is,
of course,
I would have rather tried to do it a little closer to 150, and that's my point. You're right. We don't know about the quarterbacks. We don't. Right. But I think that the fact that they burned the extra asset and felt that strongly about, I don't like the narrative that then you have your backup quarterback. Well, you don't really draft guys to be backup quarterbacks. They end up being backup quarterbacks, right? Like
for the most part.
So you either think that he can be your starter or you don't. And if you don't think he can be your starter, then he's the ultimate dart throw. He's a UDFA, or he's like a 7th rounder type guy. Mm-hmm. So, I'm rooting for Klubnik, right? Like
of course.
they've done the work. They know the player. but it's just the opportunity cost because we can't have it both ways. We can't say, we never hit on 4th and 5th round picks and then go pissing away 4th, 5th round picks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's just a matter of, could we have used that to go up and get a 3rd rounder? That could be plug and play for us. I don't know. And if they've really plugged the leaks, we might never know their process, right? We might never know if there were calls made to get up for Dunker or for Pregnant.
Well, let me ask you this, okay?
Yeah.
So Muji reveals that they tried to trade back into day 2, which would have been the 3rd round, to get something, but it didn't work out.
Right.
Now, they didn't take Kade Klubnik with the 103rd overall pick, which was the 3rd pick of the 4th round. They didn't. They could have. They did not. They took Darryl Jackson Jr., defensive lineman out of Florida State. In your opinion, or if you've heard, because again, I'm sort of catching up on everything, so maybe this is out there of who they were targeting. I don't know. Do you think if they traded back into the 3rd round, it was for Darryl Jackson? Was it for Kade Klubnik? Was it for other name player that went and we didn't know? What do you think?
My personal opinion is they originally thought they would be able to get Klubnik at 128.
Okay.
Right? Because that's where, I don't know how you feel, but is Kade Klubnik the 110th best player in the draft?
I wouldn't say so. No.
Yeah. But like that's the only thing. Like, I have no problem with the player whatsoever. Mm-hmm. It's more about the value, right? And that's kind of what Muji is about. Like, if you take a look at the points value in all the deals, he won all those deals.
Yeah, right, which is awesome. Yeah.
But in that middle spot of the draft, those extra picks, there's inherent value there. They're swings, right?
Of course, absolutely. Right, like they didn't take an off-ball linebacker. So I'm curious, was it Jacob Rodriguez or bust? Like what happened? Because if that's what a lot of people think they're going to do at 44, then they're just like, fuck it. I guess we're not going to take one. Like, huh? What was that? One of the picks they gave up for Klubnik would have been that off-ball linebacker. I understand what you're saying value-wise. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm happy with the overall end result of the draft. I question the process a little bit, and could we have done better? Did we leave a little bit out there? So far, Muji this draft better than last draft. He's been a pretty good steward with the trades and stuff like that. It's just a matter of whether Klubnik was the right pick there, and did they panic? Right, because the rumor is that Tampa Bay was eyeing this guy up. If they had him down on their board and they thought they could get him with 128, then what are they doing taking him at 110 when they could take Cole Payton? When Cole Payton got taken him 168? Like, did they have them rated similarly? They had 3 visits with the guy, so it's like that's kind of the frustration or the questions that I have, and I have no problem with Klubnik the player whatsoever. He seems like a good kid. I appreciate your time.
Well, one more, and I would just say this, and I'm curious if you agree. I guess you could say it here. My favorite pick of the draft, of course, I'm somewhat biased because I have that card behind me, but my favorite pick of the draft to me is Omar Cooper Jr. You block a division rival, which I'm sure wasn't their intent, but like they wanted the player, and then it just so happened they also blocked him, which was great. And they gave up a comp picks, for those who don't know, are at the ends of rounds. So we're talking about the latest of late 5th round picks that they give up, and they secure their wide receiver of choice, which pairs with Kenyon Sadiq and answers a lot of the questions that we had. So to me, in terms of value, they gave up like nothing to move back up. They get the potential 5th year of contractual control. If that is something, if he works out, that's obviously something that will come into play. Like, to me, good to see. That was my favorite pick of the draft.
Yeah, and mine too, because I feel the exact same way. Like, if you take a look at some of the people that we trust to kind of rate these guys, they had him anywhere from like late teens to like mid 20s. So to exert that one pick to go up and get him for the 5th year is totally something that kind of makes Muji almost a superstar, to be quite frank with you, because that's really the move that you should be making. I'm a little surprised that San Francisco took that deal, to be frank with you. I think they could have gotten more for that pick. But yeah, good for us, and good on Muji. So I appreciate your time.
And one last thing, Kyle, is just this. I just want to thank you for all the calls during the pre-draft process. You've been a terrific caller. Beyond that, that's not just a pre-draft conversation, but you've come in with informed takes, passionate takes, whether you agree with me or disagree with me.
Right.
We can always have good conversation. And even if I'm here or you're there, and we end the call where I'm here and you're there, I just think that everyone was better for having the call. So I appreciate you taking the time to call this show all the time. And you've really been one of those callers that has really made an impact. So I just wanted to let you know, thank you so much.
Well, I think that's a good way to think about it, Paul, because no one knows better than I that none of us know about the future of Kade Klubnik at all. all we can do is kind of gauge the value, right? And that's all I'm trying to do. I appreciate it.
There he is, Kyle Clifton, joining us on the program. Very good stuff there from Kyle Clifton. There you go. Very nice. All right, let's keep the flow coming here on the program, everybody. Again, like the video. We have 400 people in the room. Appreciate that. Including over 130 on YouTube. Like the video if you haven't already. Earlier in the show, we surpassed 8,600 subscribers, which is awesome. Let's keep it going. The next milestone is 8,610. So tell a friend, tell a family member. I was trying to spread the gospel at the NFL draft about the Daily Show and everything else. So yeah, folks, please make sure you keep feeding the beast. That would be as we keep climbing. So that's terrific. All right, let's head back. Let's head back to the phone lines here. Up next, we have Ted, NY Jets FL. Oh, my Kade Klubnik guy. I've been waiting for this moment my entire life. Ted, you were a big Kade Klubnik guy before. You talked about this before, and they got your guy. Do you already have the jersey? Is that in the back of the truck there? The Jets Kade Klubnik jersey? What's going on, Ted?
No, but I hope I get waxed poetically as a great caller after my calls like Kyle did. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, yeah. After you just got the Kade Klubnik nail, no one else was on your bandwagon. You were alone. You were the lone member of that ship. You look behind you and your shipmates had all jumped off board, but you remained on that boat, Ted. So yes, of course, you are in your own light with Kade Klubnik, our franchise quarterback, baby.
You have a good memory, Paul. I do. I did like Klubnik. I did like him out of all the later draft picks because he did have some good tape at times, and I know. And if you listen to the press conferences, you can get quite a bit out of it. They actually said he was injured last year. But I don't know the injury.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, neither did I. The team was shit anyway, but he was obviously hurt in some way. I don't know what the injury was or what it was. But hey, Paul.
Yes, sir.
I have a question for you. Personal question. It was great coverage, by the way. We enjoyed everything living through your experiences this weekend. It was fantastic. Mm-hmm. When you walked into your house, you were in your house, right?
I am. Yeah, I'm in the living room. Yeah. For those who, again, my office, apparently, I didn't know this till I walked through the door, is under somewhat of construction. There's some stuff happening here in the house. So I said, got to call a quick pivot. So currently I'm in my recliner. There you go. I'm in the old recliner here doing the show in the living room. But yes.
Okay. So my question to you is on a personal level. Did your family, especially your fiance, look at you like, oh my God, my husband is a superstar? Look what he's done coming from where he's at, where he was starting to where he's at now. Do they say, oh my God, Dad was on TV. Dad is at the draft. Dad is, your hub, or that's what you kids say.
Whatever. Yeah.
But what was there a sparkle in your fiance's eye? Like, oh my God, that's my guy. Was anything change in the household, Paul?
I'm glad they asked that. That's super cool. We did switch couches at one point, but this couch over here, I've got two couches, two black couches right here. It's one of my big first purchases when I, sort of started living on my own, and they're still here, barely hanging on for dear life, as I see. Maybe that's a future replacement purchase. But on this couch over here, that used to be over here, is where I started the YouTube channel 6 years ago in September, was where I started the channel. And there was 3 listeners, and she was with me at the time, of course. And I like, no one was watching the show. No one's doing it. I had just started, and I started doing pre and post game for that 2020 season that we ended up going 2-14. What a year to start that, by the way. And, she was with me for that. And I didn't have, so right now, I've built-in microphone on this professional camera because of the situation out here, as opposed to being in the office over there. But so when I first did the show, all I did was use the mic and camera that was built into the computer for the show. So it sounded like shit. I mean, it was grainy. I don't blame anyone for not watching. But besides the fact, I probably had nothing interesting to say at that point. And I was just sitting there with that show. And, I'm doing it. And there are a few people in your life, and you sort of have this opportunity where they either believe in you or they don't. And she believed, so she of her own accord did whatever she had to do of selling stuff or anything to make up the money to afford a brand new camera of professional quality, to afford a brand new microphone, because we were we're still not, but even then we weren't living high on the hog, so to buy a professional camera and mic is like a big deal. And she did it because she believed. And so from the living room couch to over there in the office, which has moved around a few times, to the draft, there was this and I saw it with the texts, I saw it with the calls, and I saw it with the, again, to your point, sort of the twinkle in the eye when I picked up dinner and came through, and just like it was almost like, and maybe she could explain it in her own words at some point, I'll get her on the show, but that she's just like, I knew it. I believed in you. I knew you could do this. And to see you on TV, it was almost like, me speaking for is like some validation, see, and this isn't the end. It's not like I'm dying tomorrow, hopefully, but this is what it's going to be like. That, Paul, you lost your crap at the draft, and hopefully you have that childlike enthusiasm forever, but that you should expect to do these kind of things and to do all that. So 100%, that's a unique question. I've never been asked that before. But yes, she did have that twinkle in her eye. She did have that, I knew that this was going to happen. I knew something special was going to happen. And she was willing to invest and do whatever was necessary when we were very young in our relationship and didn't have any kids or anything. And she did whatever she had to do to get me that equipment, to believe in me. And for that, I'm never going to forget it.
Awesome. I like that. On a draft note, I was thinking about the offensive lineman or guard we drafted from Miami, and I'm thinking about all the short yardage situations where we can't get it done. Brees Hall running on the inside and can't get a yard. We can line up with big players, 12 personnel, and ram it in there with Braylon Allen. Get heavy. We got heavy on the defensive line, especially with that Florida State defensive lineman. I mean, that's the thing. We're not, Glenn was playing with Salah's defense. That they're too light for what he wants to run. So my mantra last year was, let's see what happens. So I think our floor is 7 wins.
Let's go.
I think our floor is 7 wins. I really do. I really do. I'll let you go, Paul. But I appreciate all your coverage, and it was fun to watch you guys interact. And Lou B's a mover and a shaker, man. That guy, to get to where he's at, I know it takes skill. I know he's in the entertainment business.
Yeah.
But to get you guys in there and to do all that kind of stuff does take a lot of maybe connections and perseverance. So have a good one.
Appreciate you, Ted. Thank you so much. Yes. I it's funny you use that word, mover and a shaker. I said the same thing about Luby. I'm like, damn. To get a sense, again, I don't know. I don't mean this in any arrogant way or anything. 11 people on planet Earth were in that pit. 11. Unbelievable. Oh, a hat? Thanks, Polly. Oh, thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. You want to say hello on the show? Say hey, everybody. Want to wave and say hi? Huh? Got a shoe? But 100% a mover and a shaker. 11 people on the planet were in that pit. And to me, to be one of those 11 people is insane. Die and go to heaven. That is unbelievable stuff. And I'm so fortunate. I'm so lucky. I'm so everything in the world. I'm glad that I have this friendship with Lou B. And he's been a big part of Boy Green Daily and stuff. Yeah, that's your shoe. And incredible. I also, just sort of on that same Ted theme for his first question, during the draft, I was just, again, as I was walking around, especially on day 3 where I was by myself, the first 2 days I was spending with Luby and Johnny Boy. But on day 3, I just had time to think. Like, because the Jets had this one gap where they didn't pick for like 100 picks or something. After they did, who would that have been? Kade Klubnik, I guess, in terms of that pick. Oh, you want to get down there? Good, buddy. Oh, be careful. Yep. See you later, pal. After that 4th round pick, there was like 100 picks or something. So I just had time to sort of sit around. And again, overwhelming feeling of gratefulness. Like just, wow, how lucky am I? And so in that moment, I reached out to my fiance and I just told her, like, this is all cool being on TV and ESPN and NFL Network and all that is super cool. But, if I didn't have anyone to share it with, it wouldn't matter. So I appreciate having her in my life to share all these great successes and things of that nature with. So, again, very, very blessed. So that's amazing. So, Ted, thank you for the question. It's very unique. Appreciate that question. And I am very appreciative of that. And all of you guys out in the audience, it's been cool to share it with you guys as well. So thank you guys so much for the nice comments. So shout out to Polly, who just apparently woke up. Good for him. All right, let's go back to the phone line show. That's a pinned comment on youtube.com/boygreen25 here. We have Mr. Legendary Famous Fulton on the program.
Morning, Paul. Or should I say happy belated birthday, Paul?
Oh, thanks, pal. Who the hell is this? Is this a fox? Who is
No, it's a beaver. Yes, it's Bucky the Beaver.
Who is Bucky the Beaver?
It's Bucky the Beaver.
Oh, Becky?
Bucky. B-U-C-K.
Yes. Jesus, hey, careful, buddy. Yeah, Bucky the Beaver. Okay, who is Bucky the Beaver?
Well, he's the Buc-ee's that we went to in Kentucky. It's like a gas station.
Wait, so Bucky the Beaver in Kentucky?
Yep.
Bucky's from Kentucky. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, what's he a mascot of? Like a football team or something?
It's like a gas station. It's like a lot of stuff you get at the gas station, and it's like
they have a mascot for a gas station?
Yep.
Oh, all right. Wow, that's cool. So, was Bucky nice?
Yes, he was. And I do have big news for you, Paul.
Oh, all right.
I got baptized yesterday at the Global Bible Vision Church yesterday.
Blessed be He. Name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. Welcome to the family, Mr. Legendary Famous Fulton.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
That's
it's
Bucky is a Southern thing. Now I'm from down south. I don't remember Bucky. I mean, I lived in South Carolina, Georgia. I've lived.
Actually, it's called Buc-ee's. It's like a grocery. It's like Buc-ee's. Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get. Maybe they don't have that on my part of the South because I lived in the South for a long time. I didn't know about that, but okay. Shout out to Buc-ee's, I guess. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, it's a brand new day for me, and I'm just gonna keep on celebrating and what Jesus has in store for me and everything. So, yep, he healed me. He made my vision go away and my cold gone away and everything. So it's going perfectly well, and so it's gonna be a good day for me. So.
Well, I'm so happy for you.
Yep,
Mr.
and we got
Lister.
the video. I got the video, and I'll probably send it to you as well.
Oh, that'd be very nice. Yes, please do. That's terrific. So I'm glad that you have found the Lord, and hopefully He continues to guide you throughout the rest of your life, Mr. Legendary Famous Fulton.
Yep. Do you mind if you pray for me, Paul, for my special day?
Of course, I absolutely will, my friend.
I'm ready for you.
Okay, yes. Let's all gather and pray. Put our hands together. Lord, please bless Mr. Legendary Famous Fulton as one of your foot soldiers, one of your children, as he has officially joined the Army, being baptized. And please watch over him and guide him to salvation and help him with any of his trials and tribulations as he continues to matriculate through planet Earth. He is an absolutely special human being and someone that is very deserving of your love and your appreciation. And thank you for the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Yes, of course, Mr. Famous Fulton. Thank you so much, buddy, and
You're welcome.
see you later, okay, Bucky?
Sounds great.
Is Bucky the Beaver, who I just learned about. Blessed be he. Bucky the Beaver. Okay. Must be a different part of the South. Okay. Yeah. All right. Speaking of the South, let's go to our Bucky Badshaw here. Bucky?
Woo-hoo! Well, me and my wife call it bussies.
Bussies?
Because
okay.
It's spelled Buccees. And so we're like busses.
Oh,
anyway,
that must be French. Okay. Bussy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not the biggest. A lot of people in the South love Buc-ee's. It's like I don't know how to explain it. It's like a big ass gas station with like barbecue. They have really good barbecue, like brisket, all that good stuff.
Like hot, like
huge.
restaurant hot to serve or like to sell?
Yeah. Like you've lived in the South. Like gas stations. Like you could pull up to the shittiest gas station in the South, and they may have the best food you've ever eaten. Like, but
I see what you're saying. Yes,
like,
yes,
I'm trying
yes.
to.
Yeah. Okay.
And but now this is not like this is like a Walmart, but it's a gas station. But it's even bigger than Walmart. Like and they've got them everywhere, and they've got like it's the best place to take a shit if you're on the road too. They've got the nicest bathrooms. They've got like
that's great
you go
to
in
hear.
there. There's like 50 stalls. Yeah. So anyway.
I'm being told Gare Bear says it's like a gas station with a food court. Now I'm seeing it. I understand. Okay. I see.
Yeah. But I it's not my thing because it's just like way too big. Like you've got to go through. It's like having to walk through Walmart to go to the bathroom. Like
I
just want to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but my family, they like buy that. They have like a car fresheners. They have like a brand of car freshener and all this different stuff. But, so yeah, so we went down that path. And also congratulations to Mr. Famous Fulton for getting baptized. I remember the day I got baptized was also the first day I ever heard the song Ass and Titties by 3 6 Mafia. That's a good song. But anyway, the guy who showed me that song, he ended up being my best man in my wedding.
Wow.
But
congratulations.
So anyway,
Nice.
this freaking draft that happened the other day.
Yeah.
How? I mean, I haven't heard you really talk about it. I mean, did you have a good time or what?
Yeah. I mean, Luby told me about this pit thing, and I sort of thought I knew what it was, but like I didn't really know. I've never been to a draft. So you have to wait in this special line. You go through this line. There's more security. They have to wait around for an hour, and then you scan your ticket basically, and you go around this bend so you can't see anything. And so I make a turn, make another turn, make another turn. There's 2 more security people, and they're like, "You can come in." And then you take this other turn, and holy crap, like I recorded it because I said, "Oh man, I want you guys to see this." And I came around a bend, and the draft is there, the stage is there. There's roaring fans behind you, which are a bunch of Steelers fans behind a cage, like they're all back there. And then as you come around to your left, there's just sea of fans of every team: Vikings, Raiders, Patriots, Dolphins, Jets, and it's just overwhelming. And there's music playing. Like I was like, good Lord have mercy. Like, this is unbelievable. And, it is for anyone that's been a fan of the draft for a long time and to, like, think of it in your head and see it draft day movie and everything and then to just be there, like, is unbelievable. It was a spectacular experience. And I'm not sure if it fully like if people watch the videos, I don't know if it hits them to see the videos to really get a full grasp, but hopefully it did for a lot of people.
Well, I know you're like, you love the draft.
Yeah.
I knew that was your heaven. And then it was like Curtis Martin on top of it. I mean, who doesn't? Who is a Jets fan that does not like Curtis Martin? I mean, come on now, But no, I mean, so the draft, it was definitely one of those things where I went back and forth, where I was like, we took David Bailey, and I was like, ugh, and I was the idiot that said it's Arvell Reese, like it's gonna be. I don't know why we're talking about it. I was like, it's gonna be Arvell Reese. I was completely wrong. We went with David Bailey, and I had friends texting me like, dude, Arvell Reese, like what the heck? But it's not like, I mean, it's not like David Bailey isn't a great player as well. I mean, I think he's going to do fine. I think he'll be great as well. But so we had that, and I was already like, okay, I don't know about this. Well, then our next pick, I'm thinking, well, we'll take a receiver here. And then we'll take Sadiq. And I'm like, Sadiq is, I mean, he's an amazing prospect. I mean, he looks amazing. I mean, everything, his measurables, his speed, all that. So I was like, I was really wanting a receiver. We really need a receiver. And then we come back and we get Omar Cooper. And that's when I'm just like, you completely redeemed yourselves. And so after then, I was just singing praises. And I'll just tell you, so every time I hang out with my dad, he always, no matter if it's in person, on the phone, he always says something about the Jets. He's always just like, he's like, I love you, son. You're the greatest son ever. By the way, the Jets suck, or the Jets did this, or Mark Sanchez, beat the shit out of an Uber driver, whatever it is. And the other day we're sitting there and he's like, dude, like the Jets like had an amazing draft. And I'm like, Dad, I know we're celebrating my birthday, but you don't have to lie to me, I mean, I'm like, come on. And he's like, no, for real. Like, they had a really good draft. He's like, I mean, y'all are probably still going to suck ass, but y'all had an amazing draft. So I kind of had to just take a compliment where I could get it, if you know what I mean. But, my biggest thing was is it Pounds or Pawns that we drafted, the corner?
It is Pons, D'Angelo Pons.
Okay. So I think Ted said it. Pons is a pretty good tackler. I know absolutely nothing about this guy. I just know he's 5'8". So I'm hoping it's not going to be a DJ Reed situation where I'm seeing like DJ Reed throw his body at a 6'3" guy and just bouncing off. So I'm hoping we don't see that. But besides that, man, I love the draft. Now, I've got to say, I know Ted will disagree with me on Klubnik, but I was wanting us to take Taylor Green. And by the way, so I found out the Browns got him. So, the Jets, all the teams, they release like a little thing of all the player highlights that they drafted. So I pulled up the Browns because I'm like, I want to see Taylor Green's highlights. Dude, he did not even look happy to be drafted by them. Like, they like what I don't even know who it was that was calling the players for Cleveland, but they call them and they're just like, hey man, we've got a heavy quarterback room right now, but we want you to come in and compete, man. And he's just like staring at the camera with no emotion, and he's just like, okay, thanks, or something. I was like, hopefully there was more to that clip, because I just can't believe they would put that part in there if there was like an emotional, it's showing all these other guys like, oh my gosh, coach, I'm going to die for you. Or, and then it's like Taylor Green's just like, thanks. And I'm like, well, that sucks. So made him look like a complete asshole. But anyway, man, I thought the draft looked great. Anyway, but we'll see how it goes. It's like you said, we don't really know. We don't know shit until they put the pads on and start, running things out. So we'll see. But also one last thing before I go, Kyle Clifton, which I love the last few callers that's called in. Like if it's my Disney World and I'm trying to get autographs of different Disney characters, I want Ted. I want to meet Ted, and I want to meet Kyle Clifton. I want to meet legendary famous Fulton. But Kyle Clifton's background of that brick wall, it makes me think, Paul, when you were in kindergarten, did you ever have to stand on the wall at recess? Did they make you do that at recess?
I did, yes.
That I don't know why, but what that like took me back when I saw him sitting there in front of that brick wall. I'm like, is Kyle Clifton in trouble? Like, what the hell? I remember sitting there and looking at my teacher like, you old fucking bitch, making me sit up here on the walls. All my friends are running around. Oh man, that was the worst back then. But anyway, I'll get off here. I'll let somebody else call in. But it's good talking to you. It looks like you had a great time, and happy birthday, buddy.
I appreciate that. There he is. Bad job, baby, joining us on the show. Yes, I've not seen a brick wall like that in a long time outside of these Kyle Clifton calls, so I've really enjoyed that. That was hilarious. I would say real quick on D'Angelo Pons, yes, he's 5'8". Yes, he's a sound tackler, and I think if you want to see a clip, we're talking about highlight clips. One that was going around on social media after the Jets drafted D'Angelo Pons was when he shut down 6'3" Denzel Boston in a red zone situation. So go watch that play if you're out there in the audience and you want to see how he's going to compete. Again, obviously, size is size. You can't hide that. That's why he was available with the 50th overall pick. But not only is he a sure tackler, he has 7 career picks in college. So he makes plays. He's a good tackler. There's a lot to like. It's just the size. And that won't work for every team. But Aaron Glenn should know better than anyone. His D'Angelo Pons comp is to Aaron Glenn himself. So, as the joke, as Dana Jeremiah says, he drafted himself. That's true. That all did happen. All right, again, guys, make sure you guys like the video here on YouTube. 130 of the 500 that are watching the show right now are watching on YouTube. Make sure you guys hit that like button, baby. Get this Jet show in front of other Jet fans out there in the audience. These are a lot of fun. So I'm really enjoying all these phone calls so far. All right, up next, Bill Aimley is here on the show. What's up, Bill?
Hey, happy belated birthday to you, buddy.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I was getting a kick out of all your videos. You were really having the time of your life at the draft.
Yeah, can't confirm.
I'm assuming you're going to do the same thing next year.
I hope so. I've heard a lot of whispers about what other people are organizing for Washington, D.C., and with that lining up, right, we have no idea where all our picks are going to be, but lining up where that's going to be our quarterback year, how can you not attend the year that we potentially draft our franchise quarterback? So, yes, right. I am shifting all of my shekels. I wanted to go to the combine next year, but I think I want to shift that and try to make sure I go to that draft and save up whatever money I can for that. So, yes, I'm going to have to try to figure that out.
BG the third looks so cute.
Yeah, I'm so lucky. That was the only bad is probably the wrong words to use, but the only part about the draft is that my kids and my fiance were here at home. So as soon as they run through that door and the kids run into your arms, there's nothing that can describe that experience. So it was great to see them yesterday, and now today it's great to be back home. It's sort of weird because it feels like I've been gone for months, but it's only been a couple of days. But it felt like forever. Like I was sort of in a time capsule there at the draft, which was insane.
Yeah. Well, you had plenty of great memories come from there. So that just made the whole experience feel like you've been there forever, as opposed to any fleeting moments.
Right.
Were few and far between. It was funny to see how the Rams coach looked after they drafted Ty, and he's like, wait a minute, I didn't tank for Ty. What the hell happened here? Well, why is he on our team?
That was a hilarious, intriguing response, and man, that surprised me. Well, again, I'm sure it surprised everyone. That at the draft, like I didn't see nothing, so I tried to stay off my phone. I didn't want to know picks before they were. I wanted to learn it when Roger Goodell walked up to the podium and said it. So I'm staring at him, and I'm like, and again, for us Jet fans, we were talking. We're like, oh, are they going to take Kenyon Sadiq here? Are they going to take Mekhi Lemon, one of our guys that we want? And then he goes Ty Simpson, and my jaw is just on the. I don't know if any of the cameras captured it, but my jaw was on the floor. Like, no freaking way! And then they cut to the green room, and Ty Simpson putting on the Rams hat, and I'm just like, did that just happen? Like, it's great news for the Jets. I know Tank for Ty, now Chubb for Club. He's really beat up about it, but it dropped another player to us. It didn't give us the temptation of playing Ty too early. I think he needs time. And we'll get our quarterback next year. Again, this is in today's society, instant coffee in the microwave isn't fast enough for us. We want it now. We want it yesterday. We want it now. And I'd love that quarterback now if it can be a thing. But, it seems like our quarterback's going to come next year and phenomenal. Let's make sure that when that quarterback gets here, he's going to have the greatest setup of all time with these receivers and tight ends and Brees Hall and everybody all around. So we should be in an amazing landing spot. I don't know how many times I've been able to say that in Jets fan history. We would be an amazing landing spot for a quarterback. So good things come to those who wait.
Yeah, the only thing that came to mind when we chose Bailey over Reese was that, with all the talk about the Jets trying to focus their defense on playing both 4-3 and 3-4 formations. And I'm like, well, if we didn't choose Reese, who's technically can play both linebacker and edge, and we really didn't do much in the way of linebackers afterwards, I don't see the 3-4 part. I think we're just going to go 4-3, period. Unless we, get unique and start putting defensive backs in the linebacker positions. I just can't see it. So I doubt that we're going to do any 3-4 at all, unless somebody knows something wrong.
Because Devondre Sweat makes sense as your nose, but I don't think they have heavy enough 3-4 ends because your stand-up rushers in theory would be David Bailey and Will McDonald. So I'm sort of just walking through their depth chart. I see Devondre Sweat in the middle, but you're supposed to have in a 3-4 scheme, and we would know this as Jet fans because we had a huge run of 3-4 in the 21st century, especially with Rex. You just have these heavy edge, hold the point of attack defensive ends that were just big boys that opened up opportunities for the pass rushers and linebackers at the second level. And as I look at this roster, I just don't see those on there. So again, maybe I'm being too archaic and maybe it's those 3-4 end roles that I am envisioning, that I think they need. Maybe they don't. Maybe they're going to do it a different way. But that's sort of how I have it in my head. So Devondre is certainly that piece, but I don't know if we have that at defensive end. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, I was pleasantly surprised on the one hand with Sadiq, even though I was well aware that we had a chance to pick Lemon in that slot. But then we came back and got Cooper afterwards. So I was like, all right, good. Now I'm happier with everything the way it's unfolding in front of us. As far as Klubnik goes, I wasn't sure what to make of it. Yeah. But then I've heard some other people come to his defense and just say that Clemson overall was a pretty bad team this past season after they lost a good number of their starters in the previous draft. And there's a gentleman, I believe he uses the name just an NFL fan. He did a 25-minute or so video thing on Klubnik, and a lot of it was promising. Obviously, it shows a lot of the traits that made him a number one, potential number one pick going into last year. And I just feel a whole lot better. He might actually turn out to be the kind of QB that we want. So let's see if the coaching staff can, in fact, make this man into the starter that we've been wanting for so long.
Yeah,
and
that'd be phenomenal.
Yeah, how's Brody doing?
He's doing good. I got to on my drive back home safely, of course, phone on its own phone holder that I don't have to touch. I got a FaceTime call from my father when he was visiting my brother, and it was good to see him in general. It's sort of jarring when you see people at the hospital and they have a million cords and plugs and everything into them. That's a little jarring, for lack of a better word. But it was hard to hear him. But my father was basically translating, hearing whatever he said and telling me over the phone. But I could see that my brother sort of perked up when he saw me on the FaceTime. So that was lovely. So I appreciate everyone that's reached out about it. He's got a long road to recovery, and hopefully it is just a long road to recovery. There's still some scary times going on right now because nothing, it's not like he's out of the woods yet, but it was good to see him. And again, compared to what the conversation was a week or 2 weeks ago, from what I heard, this is tremendous progress.
Cool. I mean, definitely your goal is going to be for you and Pop to take Brody to the NFL draft next year.
Yeah. That would be amazing. Yeah.
It'll be a great way of celebrating his recovery, and everyone will have a great time. And when you have a Hop on Pop this Saturday, make sure you have him return your stapler so you can go back to your room.
I would appreciate that. That would be lovely. So hopefully you'll have that ready for me.
All right. Well, have a great day. Take care now.
All right, there he is, Bill Aimley, joining us here on the program. Much appreciated. I've said this a bunch, but I can't say it enough. Thank you, everybody, for all the Brody thoughts. It's been very meaningful. I really appreciate it. I'm sure I've said that a lot, but in all serious, I can't say it enough times. I've received texts, I've received calls, I've received in-person conversations like just that, where people have asked about him, and there's just been a lot going on. So I appreciate everyone that has reached out. Thank you. And I will be back on live in 2 hours. I'm not getting off yet. There's a few more phone calls to get to, but we'll be back on live. I'll do some more NFL draft coverage coming up at 11 o'clock. We'll see if Jim is with me. If not, I'll be hosting it solo on the Man Shout Show channel, also cross stream over here as well. So we'll give you some more NFL draft coverage, which I'm looking forward to, sort of talking about a lot of different stuff. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Up next is EZ. What's up, EZ?
Hey, how you doing, Paul? I'm
Swell.
glad your brother Brody's doing better.
Thank you.
So you had yourself a nice little trip. You got the good swag. You got that draft card. You got the autographed hat like Curtis Martin, plus the experience of a lifetime. Good deal, man. Good deal.
I don't have the autograph.
I did want to say one thing, though. I think
I gave that to Johnny Boy, but
well, you gave it to Johnny Boy.
Yeah. So salute to Johnny Boy wherever he is.
Yeah, but if he dies, that's yours.
Yeah,
but
I feel like
it gets back to you if he croaks. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's in the rules. So I have not put a hit out yet on Johnny Boy, so I can get that hat quicker. I will allow.
No, you don't need to.
The natural aging process to occur there. Yeah.
Well, I was impressed by how Curtis Martin. Like you said, it wasn't just like scribble. It was, you could clearly see it's the same. Just like he was a beautiful player and a beautiful man. So everything.
Oh, wow. Okay. Easy. You just cut out there. I don't know what happened. So I think you just went through a tunnel. So I missed whatever you said. You were glitching out there, but feel free to call back in. I don't know if you're going through a rough patch here on the road, but there you have it. All right. Well, while we're waiting for that to circle itself out, we'll go to our next caller. Here's that guy he was just talking about. There's Johnny Boy.
Yo, I'm never dying, bro. I'm about to outlive BG. This was gonna happen.
That's tough to hear. That's tough to hear.
And then at the funeral, I'm gonna rock that same hat with the autograph. And while I'm over the casket, I'm gonna be like, "Thanks, buddy."
You better make sure you have a tough grip on that, because I'm going to be like the Undertaker or Bob Barker in Happy Gilmore, where it's like, the price is wrong, bitch, and Bob Barker seems to be dead, and all of a sudden and he just grabs him by the throat. So just be ready for that, just in case, because I might pull you into the casket.
That'd be fucking awesome, dude. That'd be such a great moment. And then out of nowhere, we're just, Lou B is he's the announcer. Oh my God. Oh my God. Hell yeah, let's go. Any WWE fan knows what I'm talking about. Good old
That's for sure.
JR. Calling in really quickly because I just wanted to talk to you about some of the undrafted guys that we took. What's your thoughts on that kid, Voorhees?
Let me pull it up here. I think Jake tweeted out all the UDFA, so let me pull them all up here from Jake. I did float. I will tell you, I floated the list over to Drew Beatty. I said, "Hey, is there anyone from this group that you want to talk about on the show? I don't know if we're going to have any time, but is there anyone from this group that you want to talk about? If so, I want to definitely make time to talk about them on the show." And there was only one or two players that he maybe would have mentioned, but he said, "Hey, I understand with everything we have going on that maybe that's not going to happen." This kid you're talking about, what's his name again?
Nate Voorhees.
Yeah, let me pull him up here. I believe that's the Ball State kid, but
that is the Ball State kid. Yeah, and the only reason I'm talking about it is because of the whole he grew up a Jets fan, and then he's a Jet essentially, right? I didn't see any of the undrafted guys that was like anything for me to be like, oh snap, like that's awesome, or that they were there or anything. So
I mean the numbers look pretty impressive. So he's a pass rusher. He's 6'2", 251 pounds. I don't know how much people have been seeing from the UDFA group. He was projected to be a priority free agent. Obviously at 6'2", 250 is a little undersized. But last season he posted 17 tackles for loss and 12 sacks. I mean, that's nasty, incredible production. That is impact production. To see that kind of, activity here. I'm just reading some more on him from Lance Zerline here. But I mean, that to me, I want to take more dart throws. Again, they didn't take multiple pass rushers in the draft after David Bill. I thought that was possible that they could have double dipped in a way. We were just sort of talking about it. I think that was with Bill about the 3-4-4-3 stuff or 5-2 stuff, or what combinations we're going to get on the line of who's going to be out there and what combinations and who else is there to get. So I think we could always use more pass rush. There's no team in the NFL that can't use enough. The production's insane. It's worth a kick of the tire. We'll see when the Jets announce some of these, because sometimes these UDFA signings that are reported are really just rookie minicamp invites versus actual signings. So the Jets, here in a matter of days, I haven't seen it yet, we'll put out an official list. We have signed these 15, these 10 undrafted free agents as priority free agents, and I'll be curious. But I love kicking the tires on pass rushers. So a little undersized, so what? Low risk, high reward. If it doesn't work out, you dump the kid. If it works out, great. You just got another pass rusher, or at least a body for camp.
You kind of hit it a little bit in regards to the whole 3-4-4-3. I honestly feel like Aaron Glenn is playing games when it comes to that, and he's not really going to show his cards to anybody. So it's going to be an intriguing season to see what he's going to use as a defense, or the way he's going to scheme things up. Can't wait. So, little man.
Hey, Paulie. High five. Woohoo!
Yeah, they missed Pops, didn't they?
Yeah, buddy, that's Johnny boy. Whoa. Let's not touch the computer, pal. Huh? Up, it's behind the thing, but he is trying to wave. There you go.
He did it. And the Klubnik BG, I think we were talking about it. The dude's a backup, right? And you hope that the upside is that he ends up to turn out to be something, just in case. It's not like if it was Ty Simpson being picked at 13 or 16 would have been for the Jets itself. Then the conversation starts to be like, put the guy in, make sure you have to, because he's a first rounder and everything. I still think, and you and I constantly kept saying this prior to us going to the draft, that we would love for the Jets to continue to keep picking a quarterback year after year after year. And why not? They're going to do that next year. I believe so, at least, right? So the hope is that just Gino kills it this year.
Yeah.
And we're over here talking about maybe the season's not over by October.
Yeah, right.
So especially now with the weapons that they have on offense, like the offense now it's incredible, man. Your wide receivers are Wilson, Mitchell, Omar.
Yep.
So and then you got your two tight ends, Taylor and Sadiq. Running back, Brees Hall. Your line is looking pretty good, I would have to say, right? You got Olu, Perham, Myers,
Yep.
Pittman, and then Membu.
Yep.
So it's an exciting move, man. And dude, I don't know if everybody saw, but how hyped Frank was when he was talking with Sadiq and talking about, remember what I told you, and he loves tight ends, man, and we kept saying that. And the other person that's not being talked about enough is Alfredo Roberts and what he's done with the tight ends when he's had them as well. So it'll be an intriguing year. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I did see Luke B say it to us. He's hyped for training camp, because training camp you start to see everything. So most definitely going to look forward to seeing that. But I did want to ask you, my last question is this.
Yes, sir.
Now that Taylor is there, Sadiq is there, what are they gonna do with Ruck? Do you think they might move Ruck to like a fullback conversation, or like what's your thoughts on him?
You said exactly where I would go if I was the Jets. I would use, obviously, he's depth at tight end, so if anything happens to any of the front two guys that he's there. But how I would use him is, sorry, Andrew Beck, I would be plugging in Ruckert at fullback. Last year, I heard that Ruckert was doing some training with Tony Richardson, T-Rich, one of the great fullbacks in Jets history for a time, and one of the great fullbacks in NFL history. He blocked for some of the greatest running backs of all time. And he was doing like extra work with T-Rich to learn the fullback position, the intricacies, and what goes into it to make him a better player. And while we didn't see that a whole heck of a lot last year, I'd have to double check the snap rates, but that's where I would love to see him, because coming out of Ohio State, the thing they loved about him a lot was the blocking, and they thought there was an untapped element to the receiving game. Like, his numbers in college are not overwhelming. I'm talking about Ruckert. From a receiving perspective. So, yeah, if I were the Jets and I'm Frank Reich and I'm trying to maximize that, I'd be putting Jeremy Ruckert in a fullback role in front of Brees, giving him opportunities. And I would even use him in some pass-catching situations. Obviously, there's a lot of mouths to feed. Brees from a receiving perspective, Garrett, Omar Cooper, Kenyon, Sadiq, Mason Taylor. Like, there's a lot of names I go through before I ever even think about Jeremy Ruckert. So I'm not talking about a lot of targets, but there should be opportunities where you could get the ball in his hands a little bit. And even if it's just, specifically as a blocker, I think that is going to be where he butters his bread. Now, the good news is, with how often that Frank Reich uses multiple tight ends, I imagine they keep probably 4 tight ends on the 53-man roster when we get to that conversation months down the line. So he's still going to be in a prominent place. I still think he's got a more than, an expectation to make the roster. That, to me, is not in question, especially after signing his extension last year. So, I think more on the field stuff, I think it has to be in that fullback role.
100%. And Arian Smith, do we use Arian Smith now as a returner? Is he going to be there now, maybe with Nwangu over there, and then he still keep what's his name? The other one just has to. That's
Isaiah Williams.
That's returner.
Yeah, I would. You could normally have 2 returners back there in kickoff return situations, and then sometimes in punt return situations they have 2 back. I want those 2 to be Kane Nwangu and Isaiah Williams. I don't want to put, with all due respect, Arian Smith, I don't want to put him back there. He had limited return opportunities in college. He is fast. I would like to find a way to use him in some form or fashion. Maybe he could be an occasional deep threat a decoy, right? He just runs deep, and a safety has to respect that. If they don't, maybe Geno can chuck up a shot, and he can be a limited receiver that just gets on for vertical opportunities. Maybe that could be something, but no, I prefer us to keep our rock with Isaiah Williams and Kade Nwanwu. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They were spectacular last year, so we'll see if Arian Smith makes a roster. I know that probably seems really harsh, but with the depth that they have now, he's not a lock to make the team.
100%. All right, brother, man. Hey, do your thing, man. And hey, fun, man. So sucks. We're like back in the real world, man. We can't run into people no more, right?
Right.
Hey, what's going on, man? Dude, we see you on TV all the time. Now it's like running into the mailman and shit and be like, fuck's my mail, dude.
Exactly. Yeah, we're back to the real world now. That was a cool escape. I appreciate you, Johnny boy. Thanks, brother. And thank you for joining us here on the show. Yeah, it was a crazy, and every night seemed like its own day because, like, the draft is 3 days. There's day 1, there's day 2, there's day 3. I was in the pit for the first 2 days, so there's just, there's a lot of buildup and hype and everything. And man, yeah. So I told Johnny boy as soon as I picked him up from the airport, this is going to go fast, brother. Enjoy the bleep out of this in terms of being at the draft. And I appreciate everybody being there for our coverage. I see our number one Austrian Jet fan sent in a $5 Euro super sticker, baby. Yes, sir. Let's freaking go.
Wow.
Let's hit it. Get excited.
Indiana. So a little more help for Gangrene.
There you go. 2 more raffle tickets for our number one Austrian Jet fan. And by the way, a reminder, here are our raffle prizes for this month. That is the Sauce Gardner jersey, the 50-pack of New York Jets trading cards, and the draft hat that you will receive for whoever wins our contest. Again, the contest runs throughout the entire month of April. Obviously, we're running out of days. On May 1st, we'll announce whoever the winner of the contest is at random. It's up to the wheel and name picker. If you just have one raffle ticket, you have a chance to win the prize. The more raffle tickets you have, the better your chances are. The draft that you will receive was live in Pittsburgh for the draft that I brought back home with me. It's got all the stickers on it. It's brand spanking new. It came from the Jets at the NFL draft, and it's a snapback. So whoever's going to win this contest will get a draft hat that was in Pittsburgh. So hopefully that adds a little extra special sauce to it. It is not the Curtis Martin one, so sorry, folks. But it is a draft hat from Pittsburgh, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. So if you guys want a chance to win that hat and all the other prizes, all you have to do is spend $3 on the channel, and you will have an opportunity to do so. You have a few more days left in the month of April. There are 30 days in the month of April. So Friday is April 1st, April Fool's Day. Or May 1st, excuse me. I just went back in time. Friday is May 1st. I would love to go back to the draft process again. It was so fun. But no, May 1st is coming up this Friday. We'll announce that winner, immediately announce our new contest that is coming up. Thank you, our number one Austrian Jet fan out there in the audience. I want to thank everybody that super chatted and gifted memberships. T-Town Jet, Addison giving a 5-pack, NY Jets fandom with a 21-month celebration, Austrian Jet fan with a membership, Nenge Iboko with a $10 super chat, and Philium with a $30 super chat and a $5 Euro super sticker from our number one Austrian Jet fan. I want to thank you guys so much for joining us here this morning. There's so many great shows and conversations to have. Stay tuned to my YouTube channel. I got to keep going through the phone. There's more videos. We visited the Namath exhibit in Beaver Falls, which is Joe Namath's hometown, and there's a nice plaque that's there. There's a replica knee brace from his 1965 rookie season. There's all kinds of cool memorabilia and items there. I wish the store was open. I would museum rather. I would have loved to go in and see it, but I was unable to. They were closed. But so we posted that video last night. If you did not see that on our YouTube video, so I got more videos to come from the draft. So make sure you guys are staying tuned to the channel. Thank you guys so much. We surpassed 8,600 subscribers here live on the show, which is amazing. And again, my ultimate goal is 10,000, and then whatever is after that is up to the gods. My fiance wants one of those plaques. That's 100,000. We're a little bit away from that, but she wants that YouTube plaque. So we'll see if that happens some point in the future. But I'm just so appreciative. So appreciative of everyone that supported me on this journey at the draft. It was super cool, amazing, spectacular. And so there'll be a lot more coming for sure. So I want to thank everybody for tuning into the show this morning. We'll be back on live in less than 2 hours. I try to see if I can do something for my voice. We'll be back on live in 2 hours to recap some more draft stuff that'll be coming up at 11 o'clock. So we'll take more of your questions, conversations, and everything else there as well. It should be a lot of fun. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And remember, go Jets.
Indiana. So a little more help for Gangrene. So for a team that didn't have one interception last year, they're trying to help themselves out. We got an option here in